Welcome to Yerba Talks.
Welcome to the Aftershow. I am Max. Cat is eating over there, so no cat for now. But today we had a debate between. I don't know how I'm going to keep a straight face throughout this whole thing. We had a debate between Nadir, the self-proclaimed king of modern day debate, and the one, the only Wanksoid. He didn't cry today, so little clap for you. Little clap for Wanksoid. Very good on not crying. That was just, so good. The best debate I have ever seen. Two sophists talking to each other, not acknowledging the point. It was just amazing. Fun freaking tastic. Before we do anything, make sure to do the social thingies, like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your street, and you'll subscribe to Yerba Talks. And that way we can share the love for the channel. All right, let's get the link over to you guys, and we will pin it, and we'll be off to the races. Isa, how you doing? Check.
Yeah, I'm here. I actually have to go soon, but I'm gonna stay on. I have to. I'm at work, so I just had a case that came in, so I have to go in like a couple minutes. But just
all right.
like,
do you want to give us an overview or your
yes,
thoughts?
I can give an overview.
You got it.
Boy, it was bad. I like the South African accent. It was nice to hear that. I was like, oh wow, that's South Africa. I didn't, because I know we've seen this guy quite a bit, but I haven't heard him in a while. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. I kind of like him debating Christianity more than flat Earth. I think that because personally, that's what I think they really believe in. I think they believe in the Christianity more than the flat Earth. I think the Christianity is what causes the flat Earth belief. So I'm more interested in those things because that's the core and the source of a lot of these beliefs. So I'm always more interested in conspiracy and the religious beliefs more than I'm interested in the science, because I don't really think these people do believe in the science. They just the science just justifies whatever they actually already believe. So listening to them, I think there was like an impasse. Listening to Nadir just saying fake, and it gets old fast. Like, we get what you're saying. You're mocking Christianity, and then you're using your acronym, and you think it's very witty. I'm like, yeah, we get it. The wit is going out the window.
He's missing the fake and gay. That's a very important part if you're going to say that.
Yeah, that would actually be more funny.
Oh, booty call.
Yeah, I wish. It's more like my pager that's telling me you got to get up and get going. But it's it's kind of fun, but it's also crazy. I think the part that bothers me about Nadir in general is that he's just not accountable about this stuff. Like, I think that Nadir is in a bad spot more than Flatsoid is, because Flatsoid is not dependent on the Quran. Nadir, not dependent on the, he's not dependent on the Quran. Nadir is dependent on the Bible. And this is a weird thing I see Muslims do all the time, where they mock the Bible, they insult it. I'm like, that's one of your holy books. What the hell are you doing? Yeah. Why are you mocking and critiquing your own holy book? Do you get what I mean? It's like, the rubbish, it's corrupted, is stupid. When they say that, I'm like, dude, if I'm an atheist person, I'm like, what are you saying? Are you saying your God corrupted your own books? What kind of God do you believe in? To me personally, if I was an atheist and some Dawagandist came up to me and said the Torah was corrupted and the Bible was corrupted, I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't believe in your God.
No.
That in itself would make me reject Islam completely. If a Dawah told me that, I'd be like, Islam is false. I'm just telling you, that position in of itself would make me not believe in Islam at all.
Yeah.
That one point. Do you get what I mean? It's such
Yeah,
a
no,
small
for sure.
point,
We've
and
spoken
every
about
time I
this
hear a
so many
Muslim
times.
saying it, it makes me like kind of sick inside. I'm like, do you really believe this? Do you really think that this is actually makes sense what you're saying? And they just say it over and over again. They think it makes sense. I'm like, dude, if what you're saying is true, Islam is false. If this Bible is corrupted, if the gospel is corrupted, then God cannot protect God's books. Whatever God is saying about the Torah, Zabur, and Injil is false. So part of the Quran is false.
Yeah.
I don't understand why these people say it. It actually is really kind of inflammatory to me because I'm like, not only is it stupid, it counter affects Islam's efficacy. Do you get what I'm trying to say, bro? Like, do you get why?
Yeah, because it's the foundation.
It's a foundation. These are foundation. It's like you're rejecting the prophets. And then what your argument is that some weak people were able to corrupt it? And they did a global conspiracy, like the Bohemian Grove. Like, this is what they believe. They believe there was some Bohemian Grove, and these evil priests and rabbis went and they did a global corruption of these texts. That's what they believe. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And it insults anybody who actually values Islam as a valid religion. Do you get what I'm like? Do you get why this is such a problem?
Of course.
It's
I mean, we've been through it so
problem.
many times, and it's so problematic to say because then it also has the caveat of also making parts of the Quran false, because the Quran makes allusion to Adam, Eve, Noah, and all of these people get mentioned as authoritative parts of the communication chain with Allah and humans. So I don't understand why they do that. I honestly don't understand.
It's so utterly stupid, and he keeps saying it. So, like, Flatzoid actually has a better position in this situation because it doesn't matter if, like you're saying, like, if slavery makes the Bible false, that means the Quran is false. Like, that's the thing that Nadir is really stupid about. Like, he doesn't understand how this position, if he wins, he loses. Do you get what I mean? It's a loss for him. This is not a good battle for a Muslim. If you're saying that these books are bad, then that means Islam is bad. And that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So really only Flatzoid can win in this. Nadir cannot win because if if he loses the position of the Bible, if Flatzoid wins and the Bible does not promote slavery and it doesn't ruin the Bible, well, then Flatzoid wins the debate, right?
Yeah.
If Nadir wins, then Islam loses and Nadir still loses. So
Yeah.
Nadir loses either way. There's no way Nadir can win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%.
Flatzoid has a win result. Nadir has a lose-lose result.
But I generally don't like this asymmetric debate. I think it should have been which book has the best position against slavery, because this was just Nadir on the attack and Flatzoid on the defense. I don't like that kind of debate. And Flatzoid tried to do the reversal, and you give Nadir the opening to just like deflect like Neo, just wong. And he refused to address the problem that both books have pretty much the same stance when it comes to slavery, is that slavery is okay.
And the problem is, if you're the Muslim, then you believe in the Bible. So you still lose. Like, it's so stupid. What are these Muslims doing? They're so dumb.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it, because even Flatzoid even showed the debate, the verse that affirms the authority of the Torah and the Gospel and the Zabur, but it just gets disregarded. And the argument of the corruption doesn't even come from the Quran itself. It comes from an interpretation, which ironically is when they quote the verse, remember that verse where they talk about that they twist the scriptures with their tongues. They basically lie about what the book says, right? Because probably it was in other languages and so on. And that is, and ironically, the thing that the Muslims are doing when they cite that as their backup to the claim of the corruption. It makes no sense at all. It's wild. Isa, before you have to go, Basso for $5 says, oh my God. Isa still waiting for that proof of the finite primes, or should I be smoking a cigarette? No, don't smoke. Smoking is bad, okay? You're muted, Isa.
I mean, I feel really bad for this person. It's like they kind of have like OCD, like they have this super obsessive compulsive disorder. Like they can't help themselves. Like that thing was like from months ago. Like that conversation's over. And like that this person even remembers that this conversation happened and they can't stop repeating themselves from it. I'm like, I have to use.
I remember the conversation though. You said that you could argue that, and your overarching point was that you could basically argue pretty much any position.
That's it. That was the only point.
That was kind of the overarching conversation on that.
Yeah, and we discussed it, and it's stupid. That was the only argument that was made. I said anything, and then this person brought this point up, and I'm like, dude, this is old. You've beaten the horse into glue. The argument I made still stands. I think you can argue everything. That doesn't mean that the argument is the best argument or it makes the most sense. But like if you go to a court of law, you can debate any position. You know what I mean? That's what they do. But that doesn't mean that it's persuasive. It doesn't mean that it's justified. It doesn't mean that it has validity, but you could still argue it. That was my point. And I think it still stands. But the person's not really the sharpest tool in the shed, unfortunately. And they also are hyper obsessive. And it's
to really be fair, unhealthy. I deliberately picked an example which you could try to argue, but you would fail every time because natural numbers are always infinite. So I did pick a very lopsided example. But the overarching point is that most positions can be argued for. Some occasionally cannot.
I think you can argue it, but it may not be a good argument. Like, they had an argument, the Scopes monkey trial, where they were arguing against evolution. I forget what the dude's name was. I don't think his argument was super persuasive, but he made an argument for it. You know what I mean? You could debate it. But that doesn't mean that the argument is like a valid argument. You still can argue it, though. That's the point that I was making, and I don't think that that's lost. But it's so weird, the obsessiveness of this person that they cannot stop. And that conversation was from months ago. Like, it's irrelevant now, And I'm like I said, we have to quote Michael Jordan. Stop. Please get help. Stop. Please get help. Like, really, you need help. Like, I'm serious,
I was asking Basil if he had curry for lunch because he was extra spicy today.
Yeah, but I mean, like, this obsessiveness, it's not healthy. Like, the obsessiveness is really not healthy. Like, every time, like, just, like, regurgitating that point, I'm just like, dude. Like, yeah, it's a little bit. It's like you need some help, bro. But I'm gonna head out, and I'll get back as soon as I can.
You got it. Thank you so much. Take care. All right. The link is pinned if anyone wants to come along. Oh, look who we have. Ale Vallejo says, hi, Isa, Max. Good to see you're doing well. It's been a busy month or so over here. Well, good to have you back with us, Ale. That is awesome. All right. Basil says Isa is so stupid, deserves duration. No. He's charitable. He's not like by any measurement. He's not stupid, dude. Like, that's wild. All right. Openings. Nadir's opening. We've heard the argument before. And look, I don't have an investment in the conversation, really. But Nadir was 100% cherry picking verses and taking them out of context. And on top of that, he basically shoehorns in this idea of the psychopath, slave owner. Where does that shit come from? I don't understand where that comes from. Well, there is an iota of truth there in that to own another person, you have to be a little bit of a psychopath. But and I hate that I have to do this. Like, this is absolutely disgusting. From the point of view of someone who owns a slave, which is a commodity. Beating them up to the point that they cannot work would be a counterproductive thing to do. So I don't know where he gets that that part of the psychopath and like the torture. And of course, we got the same image of two black boys with their hands cut off. I mean, which is ironic. In the Sharia, the punishment for thievery is getting your hands chopped off. Basil, Isa had to go, so he won't be back for a little while. I don't know. It's a weird thing. And Tay says, I was getting so tired of the constant hit and fake. The funny thing is that he says FEIC fake, but if you're going to make like the mockery for fake is FAIK, like this. Hold on, I'm typing it up. Oh my, Dumbo. There was a debate just now. I'm just giving my thoughts on the debate that just happened. This is an after show for a debate that just happened, the modern day debate. And you don't need to use slavery to disprove Christianity. That's trivial to do. Basil for $5. Oh my God. What's the over-under on Craig having a nuclear engineering degree from Napier University? Dude, why don't you reach out privately to Craig, like email him fighttheflatearth@gmail.com or go on Discord? Because I already told you, you can ask me like 100 times. My answer is not going to change. He says he's a nuclear engineer. I accept that. I don't have any reason to doubt that claim. Can I confirm it? I can't. I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to start on doing that. And honestly, to me, it's like, I honestly don't really care about that, really. If whether he has it or not, it's let me grant you this. If he would have lied about that, then that would be bad. That would be a bad thing. But honestly, I don't think I have a reason to doubt the claim. Just asking questions. Yeah, that's fine. But you asked it like 100 million times. I will accept your claim because sometimes you're funny, but it's okay. Maybe Basil, you can go on the cock rocket from from Bezos, and then you would be considered an astronaut, right? I'm calling it now. His next comment is going to be about how Will is an Antarctic explorer. I swear to God. Now he's not going to do it because I said it, but that was his thought. Does everyone realize that the slavery of the Bible is different than the slavery of early America and today in Africa and Arab countries? Nope. Slavery is slavery, my dude. There's a distinction without a difference. I was there with Katy Perry. Oh, did the spacesuit like or the suit that did bother your boobs? You see, I like the banter back and forth, right? You know, I can take a joke, you can take a joke. That's fine, right? All right. So, yeah, Nadir's opening completely underwhelming. Taking perfect fit. Yeah, I figured like it also with the push-up. Yeah, it gave you a really nice cleavage. Which one were you? Were you the black lady? Oh, look at the copium. Endangered servitude is a form of volunteer slavery. It's not. It's not. Slavery, like owning someone as property, is bad. No exceptions. Sorry. So, very underwhelming presentation by Nadir. He does the whole showing that image of the black kids, which I don't know. It does strike me as a little bit with a little bit of a racist undertone. So honestly, it was kind of bad. Now, when it comes to the actual position with flat soil, he did the damn same thing. He presented verses out of context to try and support his position, presented like a historical argument about Christians abolishing slavery, which is absolute bullshit. Just as an FYI, my country, third world country, abolished slavery 40 years before the US. And I think in the world, the first country to abolish slavery was New Zealand. So I don't know if you can attribute that to Christianity, especially because there are justifications when that people use from the Bible in order to maintain slavery. Clear case is the story of one of the sons of Noah that sees Noah naked and gets cursed to be black, which is supremely racist. Supremely racist. Oh, this dude thinks he can debate. I didn't dismiss a fact. I just said that you're trying to make a difference without a distinction. Owning someone as property is bad. Ale says Damsoil debated and someone lost to Damsoil. I don't know. The only ones that lost were the audience because Ale, it was Nadir versus Wanksoil. So, I mean, if you want to see the worst debate in the history of humankind, that was it. We just presenced history in the making. So, I mean, I would totally recommend. There was no winner, absolutely, Lindsay. No one won. It was the worst debate ever. But as I bashed Nadir for doing one thing, Flatsoid did the same thing. For example, Flatsoid talked about Philemon, right? And Paul in the letter to Philemon that talks about a runaway slave. Don't receive him as a slave, receive him as a brother. That's not a general statement. That was his friend. The only reason why he didn't want that guy to be a slave was because he was friends with him. So no. Oh, fuck no. You know that bullshit like this is what will get you banned here. A black person was not the first person to own another human being for life in early America. Liar. Citation needed, you filthy lying degenerate. Holy shit. This guy, let me remind you, this guy yesterday said that he could argue evolution against anyone and got absolutely destroyed and then cried about it in the comments. If you haven't checked out the Aftershow from yesterday, do that. It's funny as hell. So, yeah, both started off on the wrong foot with the same basic sophistry technique, just cherry picking verses and throwing them out of context, right? And then we got, oh, wait. No. Hold on. Everyone's favorite section comes down. Boom, 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 boom. I have some of Basil's super chats because they were funny as hell. All right, is this the first one? Yes. Matthew Hakim, report yourself. You were also saying this bullshit on here in the side chat. Let me look it up. Here. Flatsoid is cringe. He changed to Creatlity after he got exposed. Would you care to expose how? Because we already knew that he was a fucking idiot, just like you, Matthew. So what do you mean exposed? He lies about the final experiment also being fake. So I don't know what you're talking about. But Matthew, always good to have you derping out the all-star winner of 10 times of the dumbest comment of the debate award. Let's see what else. Here. Free throw 92. Christianity is not a religion. My fucking dog. Technically, he's right. It's a fake religion. I mean, you are wrong. Christianity is 100% a religion. Brandon S412. Nadir is a fake fraudster. Dummy, Brandon, if he's a fake fraudster, that would mean he's genuine. People, Christians and words, they're very hard. Speaks like a dragon, just like his father Satan, with more lies and deception. He just can't help himself. That demon is really manifesting through him tonight. Oh my god. Dumb. Wait. I have something for this. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Damn, you StreamYard, play the whole thing. There we go. I see you reference me joining the panel last night. I will be making my own entire video about evolution. I'll be sure to send you a link for you to answer to it. Oh, bring it on. Like, okay, sure. Basil. Wait, Basil, did we get an answer to this question? Because I was kind of distracted. Did this get asked? Because I don't remember hearing it though. So if it did, do you mind telling me what the answer to this was? I asked, I sent Mike, when would we have a Flatsoid versus Nadir debate on the shape of the Earth? But yeah. Basil, the euphemism was lost on the 3 people that were on the debate. The euphemism got lost. I laughed so hard about that. That was kind of like, oh my, no, it can't be that 3 adults don't understand what polishing the bishop is. Same thing. Oh, and then we had this guy. His comments were getting stuck on the filter, but I got them for you. Fathers and sons steal long-distance bloodline females to make female wives from society. Muslims are best. Henceforth, we are allowed 4 wives each males. Ew. And that is it. So we have Mohammed, who made a really strong push to win that award today. Well, no Basil. Brandon, Free Throw, and Matthew Hakim. So, you know what? Given that I'm alone on stage here right now, you get to decide. One moment. Yeah. I'm literally trembling on my chair. I can. I know why you don't think that. Didn't you watch last night? That wasn't very good because of my delay. Yeah, it's not my problem that you have shitty internet. I live in a freaking third world country, and my streams work perfectly. So no one that's no one's problem but your own. All right. Dumbest comment of the debate. Hakim. Then we have Free Throw, who said Christianity is not a religion. Free throw. Next, Brandon. Oh. Bruce says, you better watch out, Max. Robert is threatening to make videos. You better call Kenny Loggins because you're in the danger zone. Nice Archer reference. I see what you did there. I approve. And then Mohammed. Momo. Let's just do Momo. All right. Everyone, let's do a quick vote on that and we'll continue. And let me just do this. Okay. Oh boy, free throw starting off with 100% of the vote. Oh my. Hakeem making a pushback. This is exciting, like like telling horse race, like basically commenting on a horse race. What? We answer proper. Dumb fuck. This is why you get insulted, because you're being dishonest right now. Because you got the answer that of the question that you asked. And as soon as you got the answer, then you changed it. And that is why you got called a dummy and a dumb fuck now. So, all right. Hakeem is ahead. Let's give it, I'll put a 3-minute timer. Basil says, you need to do most insightful comment, which I will, of course, win. Dumbest comment of the debate is funnier, though. But, yeah, you occasionally have some... Oh, my. That's not how that works, dumbass. It's a nesting hierarchy. Oh, boy. And, I mean, dude, you can literally Google now. Hold on. Evolutionary tree. Well, evolutionary tree. Boom. Oh, no. Look what I found. The exact thing that Dumbo was looking for. Basil, for $10, says, do you want to share a room at the Bacon 8? I mean, probably not, because, I'll be busy. I'll be busy. And, oh, look, here. Check it out. This is even bigger. An even bigger one. Lindsay, you're fun. He is fun. Okay. Look, you see how they nest, right? I'll be sharing a room with Craig. Well, he's married, so he's not going to get any action over in the US. But I mean, if I make my way over the US, I will need to plant a flag, and who plants a flag tries to plant as many. I will be sharpening my pencil as much as I can. So, I don't know what, Dumbo. Do you need more? Do I need to show you, oh shit, I wasn't showing. Hold on, fuck. Share screen, Chrome tab. Boom, 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 boom. Right? This is the exact thing you were asking for, dummy. You have, it comes from here, diverts into two families, and then you have different individuals within the similar characteristics of the family. This is the exact same thing that you asked for, Mister. And we did give you basically this yesterday. According to Google, it's the shared root point in a phylogenetic tree where lineages diverge. You have it on screen, you absolute moron. Oh my God, this religious nutbags. How do they still proliferate in the US? It's like beyond me. Right? I'm so lucky that my country doesn't have wackos just like this one. And also, it's not the topic of today, you jackass. All right. Ooh. Hold on. Let me end the poll here. Let me end the poll. No, Dumbo, you need to go further. If you go further back, for fuck's sake. Hold on. Oh my fucking. You know what? No, I'm not going to entertain your bullshit. You had your chance yesterday and you failed. Like, if you want to actually debate this, I will debate you on this. This is not the topic today, Dumbo. All right, end poll. And Matthew Hakim. That's the only 11-time winner of the dumbest comment of the debate
That's
award.
the dumbest comment of the debate. You said it with a smile like it sounded so great. Round and round you talk, but you don't say straight. That's the dumbest comment of the debate. Of the debate.
Woo! Matthew Hakim, 11. That is 2 hands plus something else. That is 11 times Matthew Hakim, the all-star winner of the debate. I mean, you can try. You know, I have absolute power here. So if I don't want you to derp out, I won't let you. It's as simple as that. All right, open discussion. Open discussion, of course, because these two are absolute disgraces to the discipline of debating. They had to be given 2-minute time sections, which was honestly just a freaking disaster. None of them. I sent a message to Isa on our Discord chat for the YMT team. And I told him, and I quote, "Don't you love how none of them are engaging with the other's points?" Right? Because they both suck at debating. That's why. That's the underlying reason of why they were being timed. You know, I think Flatoid. Oh, look who we have here.
Good
Yellow!
morning, people. Morning. Am I audible?
You are. How you doing?
Excellent. Very well. How about you, Max? It's been a while.
You know, fantastic.
Been a
Well,
while
we
since
saw each
yesterday.
other last night, like on the
Yeah.
So not that much. Oh, Fletzo did an after show, a 12-minute, 12-second after show. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Why
I think
didn't he come here? He should have come here.
Because he's scared of me. He's like literally terrified.
yeah. I
Go ahead.
Hey, Steele. How you doing, bud? Yeah. I speed watched this. I woke up only about sort of like half an hour, 45 minutes ago. So I think I don't recommend for anybody's sanity that they listen to that debate on 1.5 times speed. It's not a good idea.
What do you mean? He was the He was the best. It was the best debate I have ever seen. Wait,
It's
Matthew says I'm back. Hold on, Matthew. Two things. Number one, you are the only, and I'll play the song again. You're the only.
That's the dumbest comment of the debate. Oh, wow. You said it with a smile like it sounded so great. Round and round you talk, but you don't say straight. That's the dumbest comment of the debate.
11-time winner of the dumbest comment of the debate award, an all-star in the debate space because of his dumbness. Matthew Hakim, there we have him. And also,
I love how, because it's 11 times in a row, you were holding up 10 fingers. And you were
yes,
umming and ahhing about, do I get my toes out here?
I was wagging the 11th. Matthew Hakim also said this: Flatsoid is cringe. He changed to Creatlity after he got exposed. What the fuck do you mean exposed? He says the same derp as you when it comes to the final experiment. So what do you mean exposed, dummy? I don't get it. Oh, Bass of $5 says, is John the guy that defended that ice shooting of Alex Pretty?
No. The Alex Pretty shooting was completely and totally unacceptable. Whereas I think the one of the lady in the car, there's a bit of grey area there. But the Alex Pretty one was totally unacceptable. Those ICE agents should be in prison.
Yeah. No, I don't remember that, dude.
So no, I've not defended the shooting of Alex Pretty because I don't think that's justified, even in the slightest.
Did we have anyone that defended that? I don't remember.
He was maced in the face and crawling around on the floor after stopping a woman from being pushed over by said ICE agent.
And then had like
then they shot him in the back repeatedly.
And then they just shot him. Yeah, it was.
So no, I didn't defend that, and I don't see how anybody could. Was it a good idea for him to turn up with a gun in his waistband and start wrestling with federal agents? Absolutely not. That was a stupid thing to do. Did he deserve to be shot for it? Was it justified? Fuck no.
No, that's weird. Oh, Matthew says you need to start paying attention. The shills are getting exposed, like Dave Wise, Austin, Flatsoid, Nathan Thompson is weird. Oh yeah, Matthew, you are the king of the flat earth. Everyone bow down to Matthew Hakim, the king of the flat earth. Shut the fuck up. You're all idiots. That's the only distinction you have. Some are more idiotic. You're on the top level of idiocy, Matthew. All right. You were telling me that you speed watched the thing. I need to get water and go to the toilet, but I'll still be listening to you, John. So
yeah, no. Yeah, it just disappointing all round. Because I don't think at any point did they actually deal with the debate topic, which was, does it disprove? They spent a lot of time worrying about whether whether the Bible justified slavery, but not much time on whether the concept of slavery in the Bible actually disproved Christianity or the Bible, which was the debate topic. But then again, we shouldn't have expected much from either of these guys. I'm not really sure what the Muslim chap was doing, arguing this point, because it's not like Islam has a fantastic record when it comes to slavery either. And that's also the quickest that I think I've ever seen James introduce a 2-minute timer for the back and forth section as well.
I'm back.
Hey, Max. So Basil.
Basil, yeah.
It's difficult to. So I think the problem that I've got here is that it's the perception of the agent who was having the car driven towards him. Would I have shot Rene Good in that situation? No, but also I hadn't been dragged down the road, several hundred meters and nearly had my brachial artery severed 6 weeks before. So it's the perception of the of the officer and whether his perception was reasonable or not, which is a very difficult thing to try and assess. A, after the fact, and B, to put yourself in that person's position. Now, I don't think it was a great idea for Rene Good to drive off in the car. I don't think it was a great idea for the agent to put himself in front of the vehicle. It's certainly more justified than the Pretty one. The Pretty one is totally outrageous.
All right. Yeah, and we have differences, and I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that she was driving. Like, if you were, she was like moving the car. Like, one of the arguments I made is that the car didn't even screech, so one couldn't say like, oh yeah, she was trying to kill him. That was, to me, that was just bullshit. But dude, you know that here we people are entitled to their opinion, even if they are completely wrong, or I don't agree with them, or whatever. Jesus wasn't a king a day in his life. Sorry. Wait, given that we don't have much, because this debate was just an actual complete disaster, why don't we check out Flatzoid and his 12-minute after show? I think that should be pretty decent. To
Basil, Max does take a position.
I took a position. I say that the killing of Rene Good wasn't justified. That she wasn't trying to kill him. She wasn't, like, she didn't floor the gas. But I said this on the original after show. So we had a
not a raging argument about this, but we had a full-throated and vociferous discussion about it.
Yeah.
Max definitely took a position. To say that he didn't is being very disingenuous.
Yeah, but I don't like. I appreciate John. We have fun. He's cool, supporting the show, and has some insights. I disagree with him on a couple of stuff, but we argued it and then we move on. That's it. Okay, let's check this out. Oh fuck, the background noise. Like the humming. I press play and I don't want to watch this anymore because of that fucking humming. Just put a noise gate on your microphone, you absolute moron. Oh, don't you love the below it says heretics, come defend your position.
Hey guys, this is the after stream. I'm probably not going to have a long after stream because I do need to get to work, but I'm not sure if anybody has watched the debate on Modern Days. It went as expected though. I do have the Discord link open if anybody wants to come in to have a discussion, because I would have gone live, but I decided against it because wow, it was I thought we were supposed to start an hour later and it never went that way, so didn't go live. Decided let's do an after show then for maybe half an hour or something.
Didn't even get to half an hour.
And we do it from there. But it's good to see everybody here.
I love that he puts the viewer counter like he had a massive audience and no one watches him anymore.
Well, just quickly, Basil seems to have a boner for me in the chat at the moment. Yes, I did vote for Brexit. But that's because I'm a nationalist. I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not an ethno-nationalist, but I'm a nationalist. And I think that the European Union is an undemocratic institution. So I voted for Brexit based on sovereignty. I know you're now going to probably call me like a racist or something, but I don't care.
Matthew, he didn't get exposed, you dumb fuck. He lost his audience because he was never entertaining, because he is not engaging, because he's basically just as dumb as you, Matthew. And even the Globers that watched to laugh at him, they started getting like banned. And the ones that did watch him to laugh at him and continue to watch him through the ban, they stopped watching when Flatzoid said some very disgusting things about Lisbeth. So wrong again, dummy.
I love Still City's
Coming,
comment.
appreciate it if
Good
you
to
wanna
see everybody
comment.
here. Counter equals 1.
Huh?
Still City's comment. Where he's good to see everybody here. Counter equals 1. Yeah.
Have a discussion. Just recap if you haven't watched it. Yeah, there wasn't much there. Nadir
Yeah, there wasn't much there. You both suck at debating, Flatzoid.
didn't really present anything to make his case. I brought up a few dilemma problems from him. He just
Which wasn't the topic. The topic wasn't the dilemma, dummy.
carried on saying the same thing, really, to be honest, and it was very one-sided. But
What's on the
Yeah, he was
side
just-
of? Can you see on the left side of his face here? It's probably too small for you guys, but I don't know what he has there on his freaking face.
mocking the whole time, going on.
Aww.
But
That's
I
why
enjoyed it
Stevie's
overall.
got hurt.
I would, like I said, it's not about changing people's mind. It's to get
He's got 2 live viewers. Let's freaking go.
the truth out there, because it's not about the debater you talk to. It's actually about getting the truth to the audience. Hey, Von Eric, good to see you, brother. PJ was in earlier. I see he says, I'll be live when we
PJ.
go live on Rumble. Okay, half an hour after you start. See you then. Okay, so yeah. If anybody wants to come and have a discussion, if you watched the debate, if you haven't, it's also fine. I will be, how can I put it? I will be hosting the video as a premiere sometime on my channel.
Oh, that face. That's a wank face. No. Hold on. Let me screenshot that. For those of you who don't remember, Flatzoid masturbated and then cried about it for all of us to see.
Also, definitely can be worth it. I think I presented my case quite thoroughly, so much that I never really got answers for it.
No, you didn't. You cherry-picked verses and you lied about the whole Paul and his little friend in Philemon and so on. You both did the exact same thing. That's why this debate was so good.
Because the debate topic was, and this was by Nadir, by the way, he was like, does slavery disprove Christianity? And no, slavery does not disprove Christianity, because
I feel so dirty. I have to agree. It disproves some of the silly moral claims that Christians make about Christianity. It disproves that, but it doesn't disprove the religion per se.
It was a really weird debate title.
Yeah. And I was telling Isa that I don't really like the framing when a debate is asymmetrical. I think it would have been a way better topic, which has a better stance in regards to slavery, Christianity, or Islam, because Nadir got to dodge some good points that Fakatzoid make. Right?
Yeah, it's. I'm surprised that Katzoid would have agreed to debate based on that debate title, because it definitely puts him on the back foot. You know, Kim could just Nadir, sorry, could just sit there lobbing grenades at him all the whole debate, and all he can do is attempt to swat them back as best he can.
Yeah, but
it was funny because obviously you could see both of them were avoiding the problem of evil like absolute motherfuckers, because because that just disproves the whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, Flatzoid's only rebuttal, in my opinion, when it comes to the topic, if it was a symmetrical debate, would be Islam has the same problem because Islam talks a lot about the possessions of the right hand, which is slavery, and even more than that, it's sex slavery, which the Bible is not exempt of, but it's not as explicit when it comes to sex slavery like the Quran is.
Yeah, it's not like
Slavery was abolished
it's not like Islam doesn't have form here, you know.
Yeah.
by Christianity.
Well, I
where
wanted to say
Islam
one
still
quick thing too.
Yes.
I think one thing that's super important is the thing that I said before, and I think both. And I didn't mention this to John, but consider this: the Torah, the Zabur, and the Injil are Islamic books. Hold Muslims' feet to this.
Yeah.
They cannot get away with this. They cannot escape and say, "Oh, it's corrupted." No, these are God's words. God's words cannot be corrupted, because if God's words can be corrupted, that means God is either a deceiver or God is weak. It is a terrible position. It is very bad. And if I was Flatsoid, that's what I would have done. If I was debating Nadir, I would have held Nadir's feet to the fire and said, "Oh, you're attacking your whole holy scripture. You're defeating yourself. You're punching yourself. You can't punch me. The more you hurt me, you hurt yourself. Every time you punch me, you punch yourself. So you're losing. Not smart, buddy." And I would fight that position. And I don't see Christians taking that position. It's a very strong position, and they never do it. Take that position.
Well,
You're
I
attacking
mean,
yourself.
to be fair, Flatsoid did try to throw the Islamic dilemma out. The problem is that because of the framing of the debate, Nadir wasn't having any of it. Nadir went the neo
I would have
route,
pushed
he was
further.
just
I would say,
dodging left
I
or
would say,
right.
Nadir, I'm sorry, Nadir. I don't care. You are attacked. You say you believe in Islam. If you attack the Bible, you attack yourself. So that if you're just, oh, guess what? I have my corrupt book. That's your corrupt book. Great.
No, I agree with the principle of the point, but Flatsoid tried, and rightfully within the framing of the debate, I think Nadir was justified in saying, "Oh, well, that's not the topic." That's why I didn't like the title of the framing.
But the problem is, it doesn't matter what the topic is. Nadir is attacking it through an Islamic point of view. He's using an Islamic framework to call it fake. And he actually, I would have said, if I was the prosecutor, I'm like, you're right. It's not the debate topic, but you decided to bring up that Islam is a good religion. You decided to bring that up. So once you did that, that allows me to go and counter your position. You're saying Islam is true, Christianity is false. That's not the debate topic, whether Islam is true or not, but you brought it up, and he did. And Flatsoid didn't do that. When you present new evidence and you present new information, you said, I didn't bring this up, you brought it up. So
yeah.
But then again, I don't think Flatsoid is necessarily, I don't think he's a kind of a debater like me. You know what I mean? I would have put Nadir's feet to the fire.
He sucks balls.
Wow.
Basil for $10. Oh my God. John came on here and defended the shooting of a woman dead in the face by an agent of the state run by Donald Trump. He should be spurned. Dude, we discussed it, and
obviously, I appreciate you dumping money into Yerba Mate Talks and supporting the channel, but that's not the debate topic right now. If you want to have a conversation about it, that's fine, because you seem to be jonesing for that particular topic right now. Max and I just disagree. I think that it was a daft thing for her to drive the vehicle in his direction whilst he's armed and pointing a gun at her while she was being given the legal instruction to stop. And that particular agent happened 6 weeks earlier to have nearly been killed by being dragged down the road by a car. I do think there is some room for maneuver here with regards to that agent. Would I have done it? No. Was it the optimal outcome? Am I happy that it happened? No. Do I generally agree with what ICE is doing? No. Do I think there is a grey area in that particular interaction between a member of the public who had been harassing the police for hours and that particular police officer? And then when you compare it to the Pretty shooting, which was totally fucking disgusting and not justified in the slightest. You seem to be blowing this disagreement slightly out of proportion, Basil.
And Basil, the thing is, with this comment, you're basically wanting me to have an echo chamber, right? And this show is the best when we disagree on stuff, because when we all agree, it's kind of boring, to be honest, right? So
isn't
I
it?
don't know. Is it that what you want? Do you want this to just be an echo chamber where we all agree and everyone who thinks differently just gets swatted out? No.
So Basil, look, there's this other comment. Dad knows best. You're a bad person. You know almost nothing about me.
Here.
Almost nothing about me.
Right.
So if you want to try and justify that, that's fine. But I'm in large part supportive of the trans community. I'm pro-gay rights. I'm a classic English liberal, which is kind of like an American libertarian. I'm for things like social healthcare and social safety nets. I try to do the best that I can with regards to raising my children and raising them to be good people. I'm not an Islamophobe. Like, Issa and I get on perfectly fine. In fact, I have defended Issa when he's been attacked by bigots of all shapes and forms. Max is my favorite hedonistic individual who, you know, has a thing for gilfs. We get along fine. You know, I don't know what exactly you want from me other than for me to 100% agree with you 100% of the time, which is a completely unreasonable standard to fucking have.
Tay makes a great point. Max disagrees with Dr. J and Isa on things. Should he be stopped being friends with them? No, right? And I like some of the people that I disagree with, and that's fine. Like, we can disagree and still be friends. I can make that distinction, right? And I think that's lively. We've had some very spirited debates, like for example, what do we consider evidence and that kind of stuff. And we can disagree, and at the end of the day, shake hands and move on to do another show, and then get together and laugh about the flat Earth, or laugh about that alpha male video that we reviewed the other day. Like, dude, that's the point here: to find disagreements and to find common grounds and to walk that line and see that in general we have more in common than we have differences.
Yeah, and as Max and I have discussed in the past, like, I'm a free market capitalist and Max is a communist, or a Fabian. Well, I wouldn't describe you as a full-throated communist, to be fair, Max. I'd more describe you as a Fabian because you want to get to communism through democratic process.
Yeah, no, of course.
Rather than, you know, the military or the police kicking down the door and ripping private property out of people's hands.
Right.
So. But we don't disagree on the end destination. We want to see everybody prosper and everybody have enough food, freedom, liberty to be their true selves and live their lives how they see fit. We just disagree on how we're going to get there.
That's weird. Hold on, I've never seen you press someone other than in a video about something as stupid as flat Earth. And I mean, Tay replied for me, "You haven't been paying attention then." I mean, she's right.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to go in on Basil, because look, he's obviously he or she, I don't know if it boy or girl, but Basil, you're obviously very generous. You're very prepared to put money into the channel and help keep it afloat. So I don't want to. You know, this is a bit one-sided. Like, you're putting in super chats, and I'm on the panel, and I can articulate probably faster than you can when you're typing into the chat. You're obviously a very generous person who wants to support the channel, which I'm all for. I'm happy.
So weird. Like, I sometimes can't figure it out, because one time he told me, "I enjoy what you do and you're funny," and gave me some compliments, but then came back like a month later and was like, "No, you're a grifter, just like FTFE." I was like, "Wait, dude, make up your mind." And I don't know how I would be a grifter.
Look, quickly, Basil, let me put it this way. I don't even know if you're UK based, but you seem to be having
American.
You seem to be having a. I don't know why you're particularly focused on my politics and UK politics particularly. So for the last 15 or so years, I have I have not failed to turn up to vote, but I'm not satisfied with any of the options that I have in front of me. So I voided my vote form in protest. Now, the British government actually counts voided vote forms, and they do consider them a form of protest. The reason I turn up to vote is because I think that it is a privilege that has basically been bought for me by the sacrifice of a great many lives, and I happen to think that it would be discourteous to not avail myself of that, even if there are no political parties that I feel that I can endorse. So no, I never have voted for Nigel Farage or Reform or Reclaim or any of the other parties on the right-hand side. Do I agree with some of their policy positions? Yes. But frankly, I don't trust any of them. So whilst I am slightly on the right-hand side of politics, I would describe myself probably more as a traditionalist rather than a conservative. I don't trust or endorse any of them enough to actually vote for them.
Now that we're talking about voting, I got a letter in the mail. Now, because I am a Spanish citizen, I can vote in the Spanish elections. So I need to do a little bit of digging to figure Spanish politics out. That's I'm actually quite excited. So let's continue with this because you're
Today
derailing the
teaches
show.
slavery. So that is that's practically what the debate was about, over and over again. I do have to go to get ready for work in about a half an hour though, so I do only have about a half an hour. If anybody's interested to come have a discussion. They did have issues with their stream in the beginning, so we had to restart the stream. So I guess that's why we didn't really have saying who we were and so forth. Mova got this. He says,
hold on.
kidnapping, slavery is not biblical. That is punishable by death. Yep, I brought that up as
Basil, if you want to leave, that's fine. There's also the possibility that you could click the link and come argue here your position and explain why you're wrong. And if you want to push back more than I, then you can do that. Like, the link has always been there. And that's fine. Like, dude, I can't hold you. And if he makes you want to leave, then yeah, I can't do anything about that.
I mean,
well.
but sorry, Mac, Basil, I hope you don't. That's the nature of this channel, to be able to have conversations with people that you disagree with. I don't know.
It's weird.
I'm sort of at a loss here because I don't understand what you can dislike me as a person. That's fine, but is there anything about what I've just said that? Well, I mean, you've said it, haven't you? You think that I'm a bad person. Clearly, Max doesn't. I don't think he does. I don't think Dr. J does.
Opinion on that in particular, but I don't agree. But I wouldn't say that you're a bad person. I understand where you're coming from on your reasoning about that. It's just that I don't know. Maybe life experience. We just don't agree, right?
Yeah,
and that's fine. But we agree in a whole lot of other things. So and I probably have some shitty opinion that everyone hates. And that's fine too. But, I prefer to look at I'm somewhat of an optimist. I prefer to look at the stuff that we do have in common rather than the stuff that we have differences about. And to be perfectly honest, what does our discussion do when it comes to Renee Good? It doesn't do anything because she's still dead. And it sucks. And I think that they weren't justified in killing her. But I mean, that's it. It's just an opinion about something that is immutable, that happened and cannot be changed. So, and this is a great thing. Having to hate everyone you disagree with sounds tiring. Yeah, it's not. And that means that he de facto wants an echo chamber. And that has never been the issue. The only thing that will get you banned here is if you go there. But like, or if you're, I don't know, like supremely racist, like that LARPing for cash, or
Yeah.
that came in and was just like blatantly anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, all kinds of like very nasty stuff, right? So
Because I don't see how isolating yourself, or basically, yeah, isolating yourself from opinions that you dislike is A, going to help you, and B, going to help shape the world in a way that is more preferable to you. Like, these opinions are still going to exist if you don't engage with them. In the same way as like when we're talking to flat earthers or religious lunatics, the reason to engage with them and to have the conversation with them is twofold from my perspective. A, it's quite entertaining, and B, there is the hope that we're going to try and convince, at least not necessarily the people that are advocating for the position. I mean, we're never going to convince the catsoid, but if we engage with them, we might, convince some minuscule part of his minuscule audience that they're wrong. But you're not going to do that by disengaging, are you? It's you've got to engage with people that you disagree with. And obviously there are some areas where I probably would take Basil's position. There are some positions which I think are completely reprehensible and totally disgusting.
Now the thing here is,
I don't think that's me.
Basil, remember when you asked me how do you feel supporting MDD? Platforming some people might be like a double-edged sword, but then there's the problem. Okay, what do? Do you just let really, really shitty ideas proliferate unchecked? No, I think it's part of one of my purposes to argue against some of that dumb stuff, right? It's the way it is, and I kind of like debating. MDD has given me a chance occasionally to debate against the positions that I don't like, and so cases. But I come around to YMT because I overall like everyone's personality here, and like hearing their opinions and thoughts make me think about my own stance on things, and that's the idea. Maybe plant a seed of an idea that gets to grow, and then you change someone's minds without knowing down the line. But let's get back into this.
Yeah.
So Mubai got this. Bev said, kidnapping slavery is not biblical. That is punishable by death. Flatoid is lying about that because he made the argument that verse is a general verse. But that verse only refers to the Israelites. You're not supposed to kidnap an Israelite and sell it as property. It doesn't say anything about the other people. It's a group thing.
Yeah, so my understanding is that law only, or that injunction only applies to the in-group, not any of the out-groups. And also it was like you get a lot of the time where Christians will go, well, it wasn't really slavery. It was more like indentured servitude. It was sort of like the equivalent of like debtor's prison. But even that, yeah.
But yeah, if when you use that framing, you create a contradiction, because then it says that you will get the slaves from the nations around you. So yeah, Flatzoid. And the funny thing is, let me show you. Flatzoid doesn't want to debate me because he says that I don't know scripture. And I mean, we all know the true reason. This is the comment. And yeah, he didn't. He made a post. Oh, sorry, fuck, I'm not sharing. Here, he made a post saying that someone was running away from debating him, right? And I replied, I'll debate you. And then he immediately ran away. You don't know anything about scripture. And then I made these comments, but because I called him a fucking pussy, they didn't go through. But like the irony, Flatzoid, no self-awareness. Back on topic. I love how Flatzoid thought this was going to be half an hour after show, but it's only 12 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it's shown in Exodus or Deuteronomy. I did bring that up for him to show that slavery, even in the Old Testament, is bad. It was seen as
No, it's no bad.
a bad thing.
Oh,
Well,
no.
my question is, this thing just is bizarre to me, why this debate even occurred between a Christian and a Muslim, because particularly what Flatzoid's referring to is the Torah, right? It's the
Yes.
Hebrew scriptures, which is central and tantamount to the Quran. Pretty much all this stuff is imported from this text. So it's like, again, I say you're shooting yourself in the foot. Why would a Muslim critique the Bible? It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. I'm like, you are bound to these Hebrew laws. You're bound to these Hebrew prophets. You're bound to the Israelites. Muslims are bound to the Israelites. They can try to make them as Arab as they want. Muslims are bound to these people. So trying to pretend like you don't have a connection and you're not connected to these laws, it's idiocracy.
It's
Idiocracy.
it's really weird, isn't it? It's like a builder's come along and seen that, you know, to a half finished house, looks at the foundations and goes, those foundations are fucking dog shit, and then continues building the house.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, John. This is what's so stupid. A Muslim attacking the Bible it's just idiocy. You are building that house. That's your foundation.
Wow.
The Israelite prophets, who do you think set these rules? Moses did. And if you said, well, Moses never really said them, then you don't believe in Moses. So
Right.
don't lie and say you believe in Moses. See, the thing is, it's in a sense, I'm kind of like a Jesus in the Muslim community. I'm throwing the tables around. I'm like going into the Muslim temple and I'm throwing these tables and I'm saying, this is the temple of God. You're desecrating the temple of God. In a sense, I'm kind of like Jesus in the Muslim temple. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that, you know?
Well, you know the film The Kingdom of God, or The Kingdom of Heaven.
I love that movie.
Yes.
It's a great movie. The uncut version is brilliant, but it's where Orlando Bloom, you know, they're being sieged, and you know he's stood on the rampart and he goes, our holy places are your holy places, our holy gods are your holy gods, our churches are built on your mosques are built on our churches, or something like that. It's all one and the same. They're all so heavily interconnected and interdependent on one another.
It's
Oh,
correct.
no.
I think my theology is a lot like Balian's. I'm a lot like Orlando Bloom's character. I'm very similar to him. And actually, in a lot of ways, I'm probably very close to Orlando Bloom, you know, in many different kinds of ways. But he is, I think I really like, what's the director's name? It's the guy he was in Vietnam. He's secular. It starts with an O. His name starts with an O. Let's see. He's a very, very famous director. Kingdom of Heaven. Give me a second. Director. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Ridley Scott. Sorry, it starts with an R. It's Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott did Alien and stuff too.
Yeah.
But,
it's an underrated film, in my opinion.
It's a really epic movie, and I think what's so important about it's like it's kind of his secularism comes through with the main character and like how he deals with religion. But I think it's a really good way of looking at religion. It's actually a religion that I find very attractive, the kind of religion that's presented in some of these kinds of movies, where it's kind of more, I don't know if I would call it more amorphous, but it's more like open-minded and it's more accepting. It's not this really exclusivistic narrative. And it's very...
the word I was reaching for is more kind of an inclusive religion, isn't it? It focuses less on who it excludes and looks to try and include as many people as possible.
And it's very individualistic. It's very, a lot of these religions, the kind of religion you see in these particular places, like in these kind of movies, particularly from secular folks, it's very much like self-enrichment. It's not about trying to force other people to be saved. You know what I mean? I'm not really attracted to that narrative. But it's very fascinating in a lot of these debate spaces, the way people view religion. It's very exclusivistic. My narrative is true. Your narrative is false. and I have to win or you have to lose. But the problem with something like
it's even worse than that. Your narrative is true, my narrative is false, even when it's the same fucking narrative.
When it's
you're
contingent on
completely
one
correct.
another, that is just wild.
And it's the stupidest argument. This is where I think I really outclassed Junior. I'm sorry, in the debate that I had with Junior. Junior was trying to tell me that Islam is an exclusivist religion. I'm like, here's the Quran, dude. The Quran doesn't agree with you. The Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah says the exact opposite of what you're saying. And he's like, name one scholar. And I'm like, I'm showing you the
matter
Quran.
the scholar, dude.
I actually am a scholar of religion, and I'm not flexing, but I was like, I actually am a scholar of religion, but I'm like, this is the Quran, dude. The Quran is against what you're saying. And I actually asked Junior this in one of their debates, or when he debated AP. I said, is Islam pluralistic? He's like, no. But then I'm like, you've been arguing that Islam is pluralistic, but then you're like, now it's not. And I'm like, well, what is it? What is Islam? And this is my problem with many of these Muslim debaters. They're like, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want Islam to be this religion that is, greater than everything else, has its own unique identity, but then also wants to claim that it has a continuation from the previous narratives. You can't have that. Either it is a continuation and it is linked to Judaism. And I know unfortunately, this is one of the battles I have to do. I have to fight Muslims' anti-Semitism. A lot of Muslims are super anti-Semitic, and it's difficult for me. I have to battle against this. There's Christian anti-Semitism and Muslim anti-Semitism, and they're both like really disgusting and vile. And I have to fight both of them. And it's like the Muslim anti-Semitism is like, I see it all the time. And usually Israel is the cause of Islamic it's the center of it.
Very, very true, and obviously Islam has its own problem in that there are a lot of people who criticize Islam not because they actually criticize the religion, but frankly because they're racists, and it's because the vast majority of Muslims are of a particular race. So it's used as a shield for their bigotry, their racism, rather than actually criticizing the doctrines of the religion, which I think is fair game, because you can choose your religion, but you can't choose your race. So that's probably not technically, and because you can be an Muslims are Semites as well, which for some reason a lot of people don't know. But yeah, it's a big problem in the UK specifically. They're currently enshrining into law this really amorphous, you can now be they're enshrining into law a hate crime to be like Islamophobic. The problem is the law is so amorphous that it means that somebody who criticizes the religion can be accused of being Islamophobic. But criticizing a religion is kind of a fundamental right. It's part of what free speech should be. But it is, we've kind of done it to ourselves, because there are a significant portion of our population that criticize or have a go at Muslims not because of their religion, but because of their race. They've used it as a shield for their racism, which is just not acceptable.
Hold on, there's too much derp in the chat. We need to start addressing it. Matthew Hakim, oh my fucking cat! You just won a dumbest comment of the debate. You're going to force me to create a dumbest comment of the after show, so you can keep on getting the recognition that you deserve. Evolution, atheism, and globe have lost every debate on MDD. You're just delusional. That is one of the most asinine things you have ever said, Matthew. And then it's true, you don't know scripture. Then debate me on it, motherfucker. But no, you're another gigantic gaping blue whale pussy.
Isn't there a link at the top here that you can just press?
Yeah, no, but he's just like Platzoid, terrified of debating me, because they know I will not. I will just destroy him on every debate. And then he's here saying like, "Oh yeah, you don't know scripture." But Matthew, I challenge you to a debate right now. We'll end the after show, and we'll have that debate. I will bet my left testicle you will say no, because you're a fucking coward. Dark Shark says, no matter how hard they try, they will never be able to stop Islam. No one is trying to stop Islam itself. We just need them to modernize a little bit. And, acknowledge that Bronze Age rules have really no place. No place in the modern. Oh, thank you.
Matthew,
Thank you for giving me a recording that you are a fucking coward.
Uh,
Good job.
Matthew, it's not exactly like the Christian texts are particularly all warm and fuzzy towards the gay community either. Let's be honest. Whilst there's no Christian throwing gay people off the roof of like Westminster Abbey right now, that's not to say that it hasn't happened in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know that Christians burned witches, right? Dumb fuck.
Would it be nice if the cutting edge of Islam was tempered a little bit, if it had a bit of moderation like a lot of the other religions have had? Then yes, that would be nice. Would it make the world a safer place? Yes, probably. But that doesn't mean that the texts themselves are any better or worse. Like where the doctrines come from, as far as I'm concerned, they're all garbage.
Oh my fucking cat! Oh, this whiny bitch! At least warn a person first, otherwise it's tyranny. He's literally crying about someone timing him out on his other account. And I don't know if you know this, but this is mine, Isa, and Dr. J's channel. This is not a democracy. It is kind of tyrannical. We're kind of loose, but yeah, no one will fucking miss you. So you came yesterday. You came in. You puffed your chest. I will debate anyone on evolution, and you got absolutely destroyed. So like, calm your tits. Maybe go read a book or something, and come back. And again, you can always click the link. It's right there.
Well,
so
just
stop whining and crying, please.
Well, also, Matthews Foley, the past is not the future. Yeah, I know that, Hakeem. Is there any particular reason why you last named me there? Is that like a cheeky little attempt at a dox?
No, when he gets desperate. The last time I pressed him on being a fucking coward and having run away from me for like 2 years, he brought up Voldemort. So he is a little bit of a piece of shit.
Also had to point out to him constantly then the transatlantic slave trade in the 1800s is a total different slavery than what was around the time.
Potato. Both Christians and Muslims did the whole both kinds of slavery. You have the Barbary pirates and you have the transatlantic slave trade. So you are pretty much in equal standing when it comes to slavery. That's why this debate would have been fascinating if it were argued by two people less dumb than you and Nadir, for Katzoid.
Well, yeah, and the Islamic slave trade was, whilst I think it was fewer in terms of overall numbers, it was brutal. I think they were like, as in all of the male slaves were castrated.
I don't remember the specifics, but the Barbary pirates was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Roger, been a member for 8 months. Oh my God, that is 3/4 around the sun. Matthew has itty bitty baby balls. Yes, and his balls are made of pussy.
Thanks for that image.
When Christians were there. We even I had to point out multiple times where slaves would finish their debt and would still choose to stay slaves.
No, that never happened in the history of mankind. Never, ever. The only reason why it's codified and the only reason that someone would be coerced into staying is because if you had a male slave and you gave him a wife, you owned, if the male slave came the period of release, I think it was 7 years, but he would have to go alone. And dude, that is just coercion. That you give him a wife, make him have kids. You still own the wife and the kids. So now you force that guy to either be free or stay with his family.
Yeah,
That
didn't they drive an awl? They'd drive an awl through the ear, and that would mean that you were permanently owned by that individual in order to keep the family unit together. But I always had issues with the notion that you were given a wife. A wife isn't really something that you can be given.
Well, I mean,
you know?
if you own someone as property, if you own two people as property, you can just like, hey, you two, fuck. What are they going to do? Are they going to say, yeah, no?
Yeah, but I guess, and it's probably my conception of a wife, but I wouldn't want a wife that doesn't want me. This is a wife in my conception, at least, is a two-way relationship where both of you want to be partnered to one another, and you have equal responsibilities and duties towards one another. Like the notion that you can be given a wife, that's more. It's like you've actually been given a prostitute, not a wife, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, of course, that woman is also like, it's coercion all the way down.
Yeah.
And it's funny that these people don't see that.
But I mean, obviously, I do get the sense that even if it was coercion all the way down, like even if two people who don't love each other and didn't want to be involved with one another ended up having a child, would those two individuals still love the child? I suspect they probably would, because it's part of human nature. But still, it's just grim in the beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, it's wild.
For this would be because their master was good to them. They would be protected.
You're applying the current zeitgeist to 2,000-year-old people. Yeah, slavery is slavery, my guy. There's no excuse, there's no primitive, it makes no difference to me. And also, you know why I'm so harsh? Because they say that God's morality is unchanging. The fuck it is.
Yeah, and also you don't even have to go back that far. Like, I mean, arranged marriages happen today. I think they're disgusting as well.
Yeah.
They would get food, they will have boarding and all that stuff. So a lot of times people chose to stay as slaves to master, even though they had paid their debts off.
Citation needed. That is just bullshit.
So totally different to what the transatlantic slave trade was. From when the transatlantic slave was that people were taken from their home just literally to be sold and used for labor and things. Only 1.4% of Americans owned slaves in 1776 and 1860. Yep, that's a very low percentage. I didn't
as
really
long as it was only 1.4%.
Oh yeah, no, that's like the numbers. Why I've had people tell me when it comes to I've had Christians tell me when it comes to the witches, it's like, yeah, but they didn't kill that many, and it's like, well. Oh, okay. I mean, even one witch burned is way too much.
But it's the problem is it's not what he's complaining. What his point is, it's like only 1.4% of Americans owned slaves, but there was no mention of the total number of actual people that were owned. It could have just been one American who owned millions of people. It's the fucking millions of people being owned that's the problem, not the owner as such.
Oh my! Do you want to hear something super derpy? Pre-arranged marriage is like animal husbandry. Oh my fucking god. Oh
my god. Well, the problem, in a weird way, like arranged marriages, the problem with it, like the bit with arranged marriages that's the problem is principally for me is the fact that it treats women like chattel.
Yeah,
they're treated like they are treated like beasts of burden. I don't think there's any problem with like parents getting involved with a son or a daughter in the selection process, because to be perfectly honest, like parents, they've got more life experience. Like when my daughter starts dating and she comes to me for advice, I'm going to give it to her. I'm not going to dictate to her. I'm not going to demand that she date this person or not this person. So I don't think there's a problem with parents being involved. The issue comes when you take the decision out of the hands of the person who is signing the contract, who is getting married. That's where the issue comes.
Oh my. Tony says 25% of all Southern families owned slaves in 1776. He's using white supremacist talking points like slaves got free healthcare and retirement. Yeah, but it doesn't just stop here. Nadir, for example, says that the Islamic slaves were not forced to do like hard labor. Like bullshit. And I mean, the fact that you give your slaves food, it's also not a convincing point, because if you don't feed them, they will die and you will lose your investment. So it's not out of the goodwill of your own heart. It's a self-interest in the investment that you made to keep your property alive. It's just like doing a service on your car, right?
Well,
that it doesn't break.
It's akin to the argument that you hear every now and again, which is ridiculous, where they'll say things like, yeah, but if your ancestors hadn't been made slaves, then you now wouldn't be living in the best country on earth, i.e. America. You'd be living in that shithole country over there.
Right.
You know, so or you might not have been born at all. Yeah. Well, whilst that is technically true, that doesn't mean that the slavery itself was a good thing. You fucking lunatic.
Like, excuse me, I would be living in Spain. Sorry.
Statistics like that, because I was trying more to concentrate on showing how hypocritical Islam is, and I wanted to present another dilemma to them. So that's it.
Yeah, but that wasn't the topic of the debate, Flato. So you should have made the framing of the debate, which has a better stance against slavery, and then that would have made your argument unavoidable. You would have forced Nadir to confront that argument, which is the only good argument you made throughout the whole debate, because the rest of the debate you just lied about scripture the exact same way Nadir did.
Exactly what I did. I presented another dilemma. And the dilemma is very simple. If you're claiming that Christianity is disproved by slavery, yet slavery was abolished by Christianity, and your Islam it was found.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Well, I mean, I assume he's referring to William Wilberforce, who did actually lobby the British government along Christian principles. But I think you'll find, in terms of the Atlantic slave trade, it wasn't Christianity, it was the British Navy, it was the West Africa Squadron. Not like the Church of England or Catholics or the West Africa Squadron, I think, spent the better part of 60 years turning back slave ships from the west coast of Africa. I think they blockaded Brazil, for God's sake, because they refused to give up slavery. And whilst you could say that a lot of those men sailing on those ships were Christians, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was Christianity that ended it.
No, because you also had Christianity being used as a way to justify slavery, right? Welcome, Tony Davidson for $2 says lying on scripture is the most Christian thing. It's kind of
I wanted to add one thing too. I have to go again. I'm sorry, I got called to go.
No problem.
See someone, but I think the thing that it's just these texts are ancient. They have an ancient cultural situation that they exist in. They're not from this time. They don't exist in this time. So it's very problematic to try to take these texts and bring them to this time. Also, my ancestors are Hebrew people, right? But I'm so far disconnected to these ancient Israelites. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We have so much filter from so many generations to now, from, like European cultural things and all of this stuff that is, you know what I mean? Like all of these things, this stuff that has been compounded on me, right?
Yeah, we're all genetic and cultural mongrels, really.
Yeah.
I totally hear you, but I'm saying, like, thinking about, like, my ancestors are like ancient Israelites, right?
Yeah.
But I'm so distant from these people. My cultural reality is not the cultural reality of my ancestors, right? So when I read these texts, these ancient Hebrew texts, I'm like, it was a different reality. And if you go to like a Jewish Bible study, I recommend Christians go to a Jewish Bible study who don't come from like Jewish backgrounds, because then they can kind of learn what Jewish people think about these texts. A lot of Jewish people, like, for example, I went to this Bible study and we talked about the verse where it's about sexual assault, right? Like where the woman, you give 50, if she
The 50 coin thing, yes.
she will be killed with the assaulter, right? You know what we said? We're like, yeah, that was wrong. Our ancestors were wrong. Do you know what I mean? Do you know like how deep that is? And for some Christian people, like evangelicals, are like, no, everything's right. And for like Jewish people, like, our ancestors made a mistake. And we're okay with that. We're not perfect. We made mistakes. Our ancestors made mistakes. We had to grow from the things. We did what we thought was right, and we screwed up. And it's okay to screw up as people.
That's the honest position when it comes to some of the atrocities on the Old Testament. It's like, yeah, these people, they fucked up.
Yeah, our ancestors didn't make perfect decisions. And I mean, you could take that to any culture. You could go to Britain, Australia, whatever, and you're like, yeah, my ancestors did some bad stuff. They messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be like my ancestors. I'm going to do better than they did. I mean, that's my point of view.
And why do you think that? Why do you think like with what you've referenced there specifically with sort of like a Jewish Bible studies? Why do you think they're? And it may be my perception that's wrong. So forgive me if it is, but it does seem the Jewish religious tradition that it does seem to be that the Jewish people are more ready to look at their religious texts and go, that's morally abhorrent, and they won't retrospectively try and justify it or twist it. They'll just go, no, that was a shitty thing to do and it was wrong. Whereas there are both Christians and Muslims which will actually try and retrospectively justify it. They'll try and twist it or reinterpret it in a different way, as opposed to just hold their hands up and go, you know what, that was a shitty thing to do.
I think it's because they just have more time. Like Christians, modern Christians, like modern from here, for example, they will tell you, oh yeah, that kind of the same thing. Oh yeah, that was just wrong. That was just people.
But I feel like there's a certain element missing. If you're the type of Christian that insists that there is infallible, divine moral direction that is easily accessible via the route of prayer, then it suddenly becomes theologically quite difficult to explain.
Yeah, I agree.
If God is the arbiter of what is moral and what is immoral, why did God ever decide that that slavery was moral? And why did God suddenly change his mind during the post-Renaissance period? The Enlightenment. Why did God suddenly change his mind and suddenly decide that slavery was immoral? Now, critics of Christianity and Islam would suggest, well, that suggests that actually you don't have access to an authoritative moral arbiter via prayer. Now, maybe that's because that supreme moral arbiter doesn't exist, or maybe it's because they can't communicate effectively via prayer. But it does raise a theological problem.
Yeah, if you're a divine command theorist, and then you're looking at a set of literally written down commands that you perceive as being divine, you kind of have to justify them regardless of the current moral positions, because it's a divine command,
Yeah, so what I think is that the Jews and the Christians have had far more time to see like the real problems in the scriptures, and they don't. The more intelligent ones will do what Isa said. Like, these people they just fucked up. right? Islam specifically created the doctrine of what's the word? Bida, that is innovation. And so they have a doctrine within the religion that prevents them from doing that, which is kind of silly. If you like, that's the first thing that they should change. And that's why we get, Daniel Pikachu defending child marriage, right? It's
Yeah.
wild.
So, yeah. Sorry. I mean,
let's finish this up.
So the question, does slavery falsify Christianity? Well, that depends on whether or not you claim that Christianity maintains that there exists a supreme moral arbiter. Yes, it does. That is capable of infallibly communicating its moral precepts to people. And I don't think you can accept that second one can be true, because if it were true, then there would be no sinful Christians, and there are sinful Christians. So for some reason, God chooses not to make his moral precepts known to people. He chooses not to let Christians know, Christians or Muslims or anyone else know when they're doing something that's immoral.
Well, hang on, could it not be the case that, and again, this is an internal critique, I don't accept it externally, but could it not be the case that there is a moral arbiter who has successfully conveyed his set of moral principles or precepts, but the humans that it has been conveyed to just choose to ignore them by virtue of their free will?
It could be, but we've yet to see, I don't know how we would identify and distinguish that possibility from the other possibility.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if God were capable of if God were capable of unambiguously communicating his moral precepts, we would all agree on all moral questions, and some of us would just say, yeah, but I choose not to not to understand that.
Mm-hmm. Look, hold on. Remember the guy from yesterday that came on saying that he could debate evolution? He wants another night to continue the discussion. It's like, dude, why? So you can just parrot what you literally repeat what Ken Hovind says, which is what you did yesterday.
Well, the thing that he got upset that I went off on him at the end, but that's because he outright lied. We had set up, it's okay to have a religious belief. Matthew Hakim has religious beliefs. Fine.
Derpy as hell, but he has.
They're derpy. I don't think that he should, take the Bible as literally true, but that's his choice. It's when you start lying in order to support your religion that your religion becomes dangerous and antisocial. Sorry, I'm trying not to be distracted by the chat, but let me just change windows. It's rude to have the chat up there.
No, that's fine.
But if you're just going to lie, and that guy yesterday did, Oz Roland, as he's in the chat, Roland, as he's in the chat now, he did just lie. He said, I asked for something and you didn't give it to me. Yes, we gave you exactly what you fucking asked for. I actually took the trouble to ask what you meant by your question, and then provided you an example that met with the parameters that you gave. The claim that we didn't give you what you asked for is just a blatant lie. And if you're coming into a scientific conversation from a position of abject intellectual dishonesty, there's no reason for me to respect you, and much less is there any reason for me to respect your religion. If you're just going to lie to my face because your religion tells you so, then your religion starts looking like it's just a cult that is designed to excuse you doing evil things. if you don't want me to come to that conclusion about your religion, be intellectually honest. If you're going to be intellectually dishonest, then accept me characterizing your religion as just a deadweight loss for society.
What did he ask for, and what was provided?
He asked for an example of a common ancestor to multiple species.
So a clade, basically. You wanted the example of a
exactly.
clade. Right. Okay.
So
that's rudimentary, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is quite rudimentary. And then he said at the end that what he actually wanted was a common ancestor for two species, which is
I showed him today, though.
Yeah, which is trivial to do. Like we've seen, for instance, in that E. coli experiment, which is the experiment?
Is the 1988 Robert Lenski? Is the
the Lenski experiment? That's the one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where it was an E. coli that they gave it a measured amount of nutrition over several generations, and then the E. coli evolved the ability to actually consume the citrate in the fluid that it was suspended in.
Yes, so you had one species at the start of the experiment. You had two species by the end of it.
It was actually it was two separate but concatenated changes in the DNA of the bacteria.
Yeah, and I think they were both point mutations.
Yeah. I think it only took something like 10,000. It was done in less than 10,000 generations of the bacteria. So it's literally evolution observed in real time.
So and like it's and Osro Roland does not seem to understand English. I'm sorry. I have gone back to the chat. I'm not saying lying about your religion. I am saying using your religion to justify lying to other people. And Matthew King does this as well. He uses his religious beliefs to. I don't think he knows he's lying. Matthew King Matthew Akeem, for all that you can say about him, seems a very well-intentioned chap.
He doesn't. The last time I accused, he's been running away from debating me for 2 years. And you know what he did when he got cornered to a wall and all the chat was telling him that he was a fucking coward? He started bringing up, who, like a fucking pussy.
Well, at least though, I think I get where Tony's going. Like the way that Matthew seems to express his religion is to say things like "PhD Tony, God loves you." That's a damn sight better than him telling Tony that he's going to burn in hell.
Yeah. That is a much better attitude to take, and and if the concept of a loving God brings you emotional comfort and whatever, then good luck to you. All power to you. I don't. But using it to justify lies or religification of belief systems or whatever is incredibly toxic. The lie that RFK is a great Secretary of Health. No, he's not. He never will be. And he's putting lives at risk. You are when you make those lies, when you deny reality. Like I was having a chat with somebody today who had this bizarre panpsychism thing that everybody, everything in the universe is a god, right? Every particle. Pardon?
Was it a girl called Marilyn?
No, it wasn't. Okay. It was a chap called Dark Light Delirium, was his screen name. And he, and just and I've gone, well, you shouldn't believe you shouldn't believe things that you can't demonstrate logically or observationally. And he just denied that observational reality was objective, and then he denied that contradictions were bad in his logical system. So he's just completely abandoned logic. He's completely abandoned observations. And I said, well, you shouldn't do that, because if you break your connection with reality, you become delusional and you become a danger to yourself and the people around you without intending to be. If you break your connection from reality, you can do things that are dangerous. And then he said, I drive to work even though my license is suspended.
Oh, no.
This is exactly the sort of thing, that you shouldn't be doing. If your license has been suspended, you have been adjudicated to be dangerous when put behind the wheel of a car. And when you drive as a dangerous driver, you are putting everybody else at risk and yourself at extreme risk. Yes, Osro Raylon, we get it. Your question was ill-defined, and I asked you to clarify it.
Dumb as fuck. I showed him today exactly what he wanted, and he still keeps at it. But I want to finish. Hold on, I want to finish Flatzoid's bullshit after show. But before that, I'll give you a nice little Easter egg that I had saved here. Hold on.
Well, it's a panoramic video of Southern California from up in the hills. It shows that it is flat. I watched it on my big screen TV at home, and I used a piece of yarn. I paused it, and I put a piece of yarn along the TV. It's perfectly flat. So that's evidence right there. Okay.
I mean, you can't argue with that level of scientific rigor, right?
Oh yeah, because that's obviously up there with lasers and LiDAR and a ball of string, the thing that my fucking cat plays with. That's a perfect tool for measuring the curvature of the Earth. Although, to be fair, the curvature of the Earth was measured 2,500 years ago with a hole in the ground and a stick. So maybe that's a bit disingenuous.
All right, let's finish up here with Fakazoid.
Foundationed by Judaism and Christianity was against slavery, and yet your Islam still to this day practice slavery. That's a big dilemma, because that means that then, based on his own argument, Islam is false. Yeah, Islam would be false because Islam practices slavery today while trying to condemn Christianity.
You will have to be a little bit more specific, because slavery per se is not a thing. You do have, for example, I remember when the World Cup, when the football World Cup was in Qatar, that they were having a bunch of Bangladeshi workers, and they were retaining their passports, so they couldn't go. Does he mean that? It's kind of not the same.
So there are actually slave traders. I can never remember if it's Mauritania or Mauritius. In one of these two countries, there's still a slave trade, and it's essentially a form of professionalized ransom taking. So people go out and they essentially kidnap people, and then they sell them into slavery, and their families have to buy them back. There's that.
Yes.
We've got a slave trade in the UK right now. There are people that have been convicted of it in a town down the road from my house in Leicester. And basically what they do is they traffic people into the country illegally, and then they pay off the cost of trafficking them illegally into the country by working in they're like clothing factories in Leicestershire, illegal clothing factories. They get raided every now and again. The police go in and raid them and arrest everybody.
And indeed, you can make the argument that there is a lot of slave labor being used in the US, for instance, amongst their convict populations. Their convict populations are forced to do arduous labor and are not financially compensated for it.
But all of those, it's not like everyone is like celebrating. It's a caveat, or like as far as the convicts doing labor, some get paid meager amounts, right? But like they're in jail, so there are counter and there are caveats to that. But it's not like slavery is proliferating in modern times like it was before, and it's kind of frowned upon by most people, right?
Well,
So I don't
the,
know what Flatoid means here.
the prison one though, I think is a, like, whilst I think everybody could agree that having people illegally trafficked into a country and then being forced to work off their quote unquote debt is kind of, at minimum, it's kind of an indentured servitude. There's nothing moral about it. But with the prison one, like, I think it depends. Like, if you've got an incarcerated population and they've been incarcerated for good reasons, so setting aside that there might be people in there that shouldn't be because the reasons that they're there are shit. But if you've essentially got this workforce which has been incarcerated for a good reason, and you can put them to a social good, now where I think it becomes an issue is there somebody profiting from that labor who isn't the one that's actually laboring? So, like, for example, is there like a prison warden who's, you know,
Well,
who's profiting from it? It would be one thing for society at large to profit from it if they're like, you know, litter picking or something like that, and they're not being paid for it, as long as society as a whole is profiting. But if there's one corrupt individual who's profiting from it, that's when I think it becomes a bit
it's not corrupt individuals. It's so a lot of prison institutions in the United States are privatized concerns. So they'll be awarded contracts to undertake labor, and then they'll use the inmates in their prison to perform the labor. So in that context, it is the corporation that runs the prison that is profiting from the labor. On the other hand, there is, to your point of social benefit, there is, of course, a social benefit from having the work done, presumably. I'm not trying to make an argument per se about the morality of this. It seems to be something that it seems to be a state of affairs that people are comfortable with. As you say, it's difficult to morally criticize it give it under the assumption that, as you say, the convictions are valid.
My dad used to be a probation officer, and he used to have to, they'd go out and do litter picking, cutting hedges. There's all sorts of, and they weren't paid for it. It was considered that they owed society a debt, and this is how they were going to pay it off.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to cast any moral aspersions, but you can certainly make the argument that slavery still exists in the United States, and maybe under other penal systems as well. I don't know, but the argument that Flatzoid seems to be trying to make is slavery is a historical thing in Christian countries, but it's an ongoing thing in Muslim countries. That isn't true, is the point that I'm trying to make.
That's what I was saying. Yes.
So Flatzoid's distinction here, it's a distinction without a difference. There are institutions of slavery that are fully legal and recognized by the government in nominally Christian countries. Even though separation of church and state is supposed to be a thing in the United States. I don't think that Flatzoid's argument holds any water here.
That this was just the whole debate was like this. Flatzoid making bad points, Nadir making worse points, and then Flatzoid making even worse points. That's the way it went through the whole freaking thing.
For abolishing slavery. Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Yep, I presented even two people where they helped abolish slavery, where they were literally in the 1800s doing this. I also presented church fathers, which were very vocal on their slavery as well. I even showed references, citations for this.
Yeah, but the problem was that Flatzoid, let's read the title of the debate. Does slavery in the Bible disprove Christianity? So that disqualifies you bringing up the church fathers because they're not in the Bible.
But also for every religious person that you can find that has picked verse A to argue for their point. There's another religious person who's picked verse B, which argues the corollary of the point, and it's all from the same goddamn book.
Yeah.
Like, you can. I can pick up the Bible and justify almost any position I want if I'm going to cherry pick one particular verse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which gets back to there's no infallible communication mechanism between this divine moral arbiter and his adherents. You can read the Bible and you can justify slavery. You can read the Bible and you can justify anti-slavery. Okay, you can read the Bible and justify just about anything, it seems like. As Christians amply demonstrate, you can read the Bible and justify anti-science stances, as Osro Raylon is in the process of demonstrating right now. Which is to say, the central tenet of Christianity, that there is a God, and that God is capable of communicating with his followers. Those two things don't seem to be true in conjunction, because Christianity is all over the place as far as moral precepts are concerned. You still have Christians today who think that slavery, as enacted in the early US, was a good thing and should be returned to. You still have people in the US who suggest that women should not be allowed to vote based on religious principles from the Bible. If there were a moral divine being capable of informing people, informing Christians correctly, they wouldn't lie, they wouldn't steal, they wouldn't cheat, they wouldn't do and say the abhorrent things that they do and say.
Oh, Matthew says Jesus is correct. Jesus was a liar and a fraud. Matthew, shut the fuck up.
Well, even if I accept, Matthew's argument that Jesus is correct, all I need to do is talk to Jesus, and he should tell me what the correct thing to do is, right? And if I can't talk to Jesus and he can't tell me, if I can try talking to Jesus and he can't tell me the right thing to do, that's his fault. He's the divine, he's the omnipotent, omniscient being. He should know how to make his wishes clear to me. And that he can't seem to do this for, a significant number of people, that's his fault, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Brought up a page for his argument about why Christians accepted slavery based on, I think it was Bible.com or whatever, or ChristianityToday.com. And when I went and looked at the page, it was actually going against what he said. So he didn't read the whole page through properly, or maybe he didn't understand what was being said.
Gee, I wonder who that reminds me of. Flatzoid. Not reading cited sources. It sounds very familiar.
What's up, Trying Truth Seeker? Good to see you too, brother. Glad you could make it. This is definitely not my normal time of streaming. It's just I have to get ready to go to work in a half an hour. So, yeah. I must be honest, I did struggle to sleep last night. Luckily, I was awake.
Oh, look at this. I love when you guys derp out in the chat. I just love it. Anyone using the Bible to justify slavery is wrong, because we're all created equally.
Yeah, the problem with this, I saw this comment and I was going to, it's the only part of the Bible where all men are created equal in the eyes of God. Then you would think that would preclude the possibility of slavery, because you can't be equal if one man owns another man. Unfortunately, there is a big chunk of our history where there was an ongoing discussion as to whether, for example, Africans were even part of the human race. And that was used to justify their enslavement, as in they weren't really humans. The Mustachio Man during the 1938 Olympics, when it was pointed out to him that there were some races that were performing better in certain sports than others. I think he can be quoted as saying, yes, but if a human raced against a cheetah, he would lose. Essentially saying, yeah, fine, they're faster than us, but they're not humans, so it's not really a fair competition.
Matthew,
So
stop
now what the
spamming
fuck do
the
we do?
chat. Stop spamming the chat. It's adorable when he thinks he has a show. Matthew, you have to stream 1 hour at a time because you don't even pay for StreamYard. Like, sit down and shut up.
Up an hour earlier before the stream. Otherwise, I don't know if it would have happened because I was thinking it's starting at 3 a.m. and it was actually 2 a.m. And 6 minutes before the stream, I come and say, "Oh, they already said the link." It's like, why? And I say, "No, it's scheduled for 2 a.m., not 3 a.m." So, luckily, I was able to get myself ready for that.
Oh, those pesky globe time zones. They will always get you.
I also see Nadir also sent me an email, like literally just before the debate, which I didn't even really take notice, saying that please don't bring up Islam in the debate. It's like, why mustn't I bring up where he literally in his opening, his presentation was, and I let me tell you what the presentation title literally is: Christianity - Islam slavery presentation. So he literally tells me I mustn't bring up Islam. After I've made my presentation all about it anyway, he brings up, please don't use slavery. So I just ignored that and said, well, since your opening shows Islam and slavery, and you bring up some Quran verses, I can do the same. And my presentation was set on that. So I think I did exactly what I was planning to do. I don't think Nadir expected what happened tonight because it was really one-sided. There wasn't actually.
No, it wasn't. It was zero-sided. Everyone lost. We're all dumber because we heard that debate. But that's what made it great. Best debate in the history of mankind. Two of the worst debaters on the globe going at it. Like two sophists going against each other is always a treat.
Really an argument from his side other than just and insulting. Yeah, he got very triggered, was insulting me constantly. But again, to Nadir, I am praying for you, man, and I do pray that you get over this biasness against Islam because it is a false religion.
Your religion is also false, Fatoid. Sorry.
Teaches things that are hypocritical and go against morality values. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me the story about David and Bathsheba again. I seem to love that one.
Got nothing against Nadir. I just wish he would be more honest. That's all. Not sure. While I was reading the chat,
I'm glad I was muted there. But the idea of Flatsoid, the man who edited out 15 frames from Red's rhetoric, this guy is claiming that he wants somebody else to be more honest, and then spent the debate where he was challenged on this, prevaricating about how to edit out a distortion. Editing out a visual distortion does not involve removing frames. That would be a process that you apply to all frames equally, not to the 15 frames that kind of prove you wrong. And this is the man who wants somebody else to be honest. How dare he have the fucking temerity to make this sort of idiotic statement in public? You lying, conniving sack of shit.
It's not even an honest disagreement, is it? It is just it's a manipulation. But I suppose I know it's the flat Earth isn't the topic of the debate, but just Tony, do you think any flat earthers actually legitimately believe it? Because my position is that I think the vast majority of them are poeing. They can't honestly believe that the Earth is actually flat.
Well, it depends on who you're talking about. Do I think Matthew Hakeem thinks that the Earth is flat? I absolutely do. I believe that. And certainly Ammon, I think, in a debate that he had with Whitsitt, made the distinction between flat Earth followers and flat Earth leaders. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of flat Earth followers do genuinely believe that the Earth is flat, that they've been lied to by the education system, by the powers that be, and that they have a better understanding than any scientist on the face of the planet. They genuinely do seem to believe that. But a lot of the leaders, your Eric Dubays, your down in the rabbit holes, or David Weiss, these people, Mark Sargent, I find it very difficult to believe that they do genuinely think that, because they seem so thoroughly dishonest on the subject. They're telling stuff, and they've been presented with the arguments explaining why these arguments are false multiple times, but they still regurgitate them as though they're valid. So I think a great many flat earthers do believe it, but a great many flat earth leaders, I doubt very much that they believe the earth to be flat.
I don't know if you know this, John, but Matthew Hakim claims that on a debate he had with Tony on MDD, Matthew Hakim claims that because he said some stuff, he debunked plate tectonics. So Matthew is completely delusional about reality.
Debunk plate tectonics?
Yes.
What? Okay.
I mean, he lives in Cali, freaking California, where there's earthquakes.
Earthquake Central, yeah.
A lot of the time because of plate tectonics, and he claims to have debunked them on a debate with a specialist in that subject.
Well, how do you explain the continuously changing topography of the Rocky Mountains between the east and the west coast of the United States? Like, I mean, where the fuck did that come from?
Nah. No, he debunked it. That he claims that it's just that he's that delusional. So yeah, some people do believe it, but some the distinction is probably
while we've got Matthew Hakim here, can you show him the security cam footage of from that earthquake?
Yes.
Is that the one where you can? It's one of the few recordings we've got of the plate literally rotating and splitting. It's in the car park by the security gate. It's an amazing piece of footage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Matthew Hakim, if you're still in the chat, here's some video evidence that was taken during an earthquake that suggests dragon sword.
No, give him 10 seconds again, and that will overwrite it. Here you go. Here it is. Oh no, that's not the one. Fuck me. Hold on.
No, it's the static camera where there's a security gate in the background.
Yeah, I clicked the wrong one.
Right, sorry.
1 second. Here. Pay attention, Matthew. And like the whole freaking house shakes.
Yeah.
And look, it
you see the pylon going down in the background?
Matthew, look, pay attention. How everything moves, like the whole house moves forward.
Such an amazing time we live in that, cameras of sufficiently good quality are, so widespread that there's a good chance that we'll pick up something like this somewhere along the line. It's really cool.
Yeah, you notice how these cameras always seem to be present to provide us with perfectly acceptable evidence of all the natural phenomenon that we maintain exists, but they seem to be suspiciously absent in the presence of every fucking miracle that's been God divined.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So and I hope that that has an impact on Matthew Hakim. I don't know that it will, but sort of this, dragging this back to sort of Flatzoid, it's this sort of dishonesty. This is why I got so angry at Osro Raylon yesterday, just for the inherent dishonesty of his tactics during this, the way he said stuff, the way he tried to misrepresent past events. He was lying to my face, and he didn't seem to understand the central immorality of what he was doing. And it is this dishonesty, this immorality that really drags their religion into disrepute. And if God were real, and if God were a moral being, people like Flatzoid and people like Osro Raylon would not be such dishonest pieces of shit.
Oh yeah. Oh my
I
God!
do.
Check this out.
Yeah, I
Also,
saw that.
Raylan says, "From one Christian to another, you're an idiot, dude. You're exactly the same. You just accept that the Earth is a globe, but for some weird reason, you don't accept evolution. That is dumb and hypocritical. And you are right. Matthew Hakim is an idiot, but you don't have any moral high ground when it comes to him."
Well, the phrase "takes one to know one" kind of. But I think with respect to the question that I asked Tony about whether they're pulling or whether they actually believe it, I think I agree with you. I think you can't. It does seem that the vast majority of the flat Earth advocates, like the prominent ones on YouTube and what have you, in order to try and manipulate an audience, the act of manipulation would indicate that they themselves know that they're lying. But I when it comes to sort of the people that have been conned, I kind of hope that's not the case. I sort of have it worries me somewhat that it is apparently quite easy to convince, especially in the Western world. We're supposed to have like a minimum level of quite a comprehensive education. Yet, despite the fact that we've all been kicked through this education system, it seems relatively easy to convince quite a large number of people to believe in fucking lunacy. And that is kind of it's either a scathing indictment of our education or it's a scathing indictment of humanity in general. And I hope it's neither. you know.
Well, so the Finns have actually introduced, I think, a compulsory unit in their high school education about assessing social media and the factual content of social media, and it seems to have quite a positive impact. And so, there are a lot of laws and educational standards that have not adapted. Social media has changed, and the prevalence of social media, the reach of social media has changed so much, and we as a society have not really changed how we approach things. We've not really pushed back on the increased reach of misinformation or the fact that
it's novel. It's novel as well for us as a species. It's unprecedented for us, and how we deal with it psychologically is very difficult. I mean, there's one of the few discussions that are happening within politics in the UK now that I think I actually is a good discussion to be having, despite the fact that I'm a small government kind of conservative. I think the less rules, the better. But they're having a discussion about banning social media for children right now. And actually, I think
it's already happened in Australia.
I think for me, the precautionary principle steps in because it is new and it is novel, and we're not really sure of what potential damage it could do, especially with regards to children whilst their brains are developing. And my children, for example, whilst they don't have phones, but they have tablets, they are heavily restricted. Heavily restricted. We had a near miss the other day where there was somebody who had friended my daughter on Minecraft or something, and I've no fucking clue how they got through the parental protections, but they did. So I had to go digging and find who this person was. Turns out it's a friend of a friend from another school, and that's how, like, because there was interconnection there, that's how they got through the parental blocks. But these novel technologies that we have, which are causing these, what I call them as sociocultural brain farts, and they just sort of like barrel through the population at a rate of knots that would never have been possible before.
I told the story before. My biggest niece was 13, and they have, I think it's Google parental control on their phone, so they get allotted a certain amount of time that they can be on their phone per day, and then it just it locks out until the next day. And I was babysitting them Friday night, and the little ones had gone to bed, and my biggest niece was watching movies with me. And I noticed that she was on her phone like for a good 3 hours. And I was like, hey, don't you have your phone blocked? And she was like, don't tell my mom. I figured out a way past it. And I was like, Respect. Like, good job. I would have done the same thing. And of
But
course, I didn't tell because I'm no fucking snitch.
Well, back in the day, this is like going back decades at this point. One of the first jobs I had, I was working for Virgin Media, and I was in what was called the ports team. So when customers wanted to move from one company to another, but they wanted to keep the same phone number, then you'd have to transfer the phone number from one company to another. So I was like one of those annoying retentions people that would phone you and go, "Why are you leaving? Is there anything we can do to get you stay?" And there was one lady who I had her 3 months on the bounce. And basically, her kid was phoning all of his mates on their mobile phones, which back in the day, phoning a mobile phone from a landline was prohibitively expensive. It was torturously expensive. So we blocked all numbers that began with 07. The idea was that when you type 07, all mobile numbers in the UK start with a 07. So if you block 0, and all landline numbers start with an 01 or an 02 or an 03. So if you block 07 numbers, it stops you from being able to dial mobile phones, and you can only ring landlines. But what this kid started doing was he started putting the international prefix in front of it. So he'd start dialing numbers with +44, which would get around the block. And then we blocked all of the international numbers as well on the phone. And then the month after that, she phoned me back again with another horrendous bill, because what he was doing is he was phoning directory inquiries and asking to be put through to the number directly, which was also, so this kid, like, it's circumvented everything that we put in place to try and stop him from phoning his mates, and gave his mum like hundreds of pounds worth of phone bills every month. She was fucking furious, but I kind of had to respect the kid. He sort of,
Yeah. All right, let's finish this up because we don't have much left.
The debate, it was actually quite interesting. Let's see.
Wow, the dummy is really talking about evolution. I like, it's not the topic today. We'll talk about it sometime. But you're not, dude. You're just parroting this doofus. So like, you're not very high on my priority of people to debate. Because all you will do is just, what's his name? Ken Hovind. You will just say the same bullshit Ken Hovind says, and that is not appealing at all.
Sorry, what you say? Still live on Rumble. I didn't realize you already debated. Yeah, PJ debated from 2 a.m. We are finished. I'm not going to go on long with this, though. I am actually quite tired, to be honest, but I got work to do. So I'll have to sleep tonight. That's how
I love how he's several minutes into this after show, and he's not even got, on the right hand side of his screen, he's not even got the chat that's like filled the sidebar on the screen. I mean, there's a lot of embarrassing white space at the top of that chat.
Yes. Dude, even when he does Flat Earth, he lost his audience, all of it, when he did this weird turn to Christianity. And for someone that has 5,050 subscribers, he gets 200 views on his videos, shit like that. It's weird.
Well, it does seem, which is odd though. I'm surprised at that, because the Venn diagram of Christians and flat earthers seems to be an almost perfect circle. So I was surprised that this, like, a twist into Christianity would have lost him audience, to be honest. But still.
It's his whole demeanor and his like his setup is trash. It's all just garbage. That's why people don't. And the whole thing with Lisbeth also lost him. He said that they took Lisbeth on the final experiment trip to be the town bicycle. And even a lot of flat earthers were like, yeah, no, that's fucked up, dude.
Maybe I will just premiere the debate then. We'll see how it goes. I see they already got a comment on the debate. It says, a lib card. Future me, is Nadir gonna make up?
Dude, I must be a prophet, because I call this exact thing. All you're doing is parroting Kent Hovind. You have no clue what this topic is about. You're just being conned by a fucking liar, woman abuser, tax evader that has a little cult where he claims that he does science. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
embarrassing.
The only debate Kent Hovind has ever won is the debate that he had with his ex-wife, and that ended with her falling down the stairs. So probably
Yeah.
not the best person to be putting on a pedestal.
No, this is wild.
I'm sorry, Ken Hovind
lot of
is the
fake-
most legendary scientist of all the scientists in the world. Like, there's no scientist.
Hang on. Issa, pause there. We have to wait for the thunderclap that is obviously going to accompany that outrageous fucking lie.
Yeah.
He's the greatest scientist of all scientists. A microevolution's real. Macroevolution's fake. Do you know a bacteria dog? And a dog always produce a dog. Did you know that? Let's wacko atheists today. We're gonna whack
Yeah, but
atheists
Issa,
today.
are pineapples and pine trees related?
Oh my god.
Hold
Oh my
on.
God.
Let's do it.
He's a gift that keeps on giving. I want to keep seeing more Ken Hovind debates. He's just
Let's do it again.
He's
Ken
a
Hovind
legend.
is the best debater ever.
Ken Hovind is the best debater. He is a legend among legends. He's the master of the Creation Museum.
I don't know if you hear it, but we have crickets now.
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
but do you know what I mean? Like the fact that we live in a world where we have like in a modern mechanized Western supposedly well-educated society, we've got people like Ken Ham who's like digging in his Dino Adventureland, digging in a shale quarry, and then you've Ken Hovind, sorry, then you've got Ken Ham who's created like supposedly a replica of the Ark that leaks when it fucking rains. Like
it's hilarious. It's amazing. I think PhD Tony is probably just mind blown by Ken Ham and Ken Hovind. Their science is so spectacular.
Thanks for Ken Ham, Tony. We're blaming you for that one.
You've got no idea of the crackpots we've got in this country. Let me tell you.
You have iron ores.
We were doing the sovereign citizen thing way before, and racism way before it became fashion. You guys have a lot of catching up to do.
Ken Hovind yesterday said that he's also building a replica of the Ark, so I can't wait for that to be finished.
Ken Ham is Australian, isn't he?
Yeah, that's why I said thanks to Tony for Ken Ham. Yeah,
he's Australian.
All right, let's finish this up and we'll be on our way.
As the token Englishman on the panel, we didn't do nothing.
No, I get that.
None of it's our fault.
Statements.
You've got to have an English scientist. You've got to have some English people who fit right into this department.
Well, Toon sometimes covers. There's an English guy that goes around cutting off the mast or like cutting off where they put the traffic cams, and he burned the transformer of the 5G tower like a complete wacko.
They're called Blade Runners. So we've got in the UK, there's something they're trying to set up called 15-minute cities, and it's like an environmental incentive where they're like trying to stop people
from walk everywhere.
Yeah, they're trying to stop people from driving from zone to zone to zone, and we've got like environmental zones where if you've got like an older vehicle, like an old diesel, you're not allowed to drive it into inner cities without paying a premium because it affects the air quality. And these guys, it's all managed with ANPR, automatic number plate recognition cameras, and these guys are running around cutting the cameras down.
Yeah.
But my personal cultural shame is Nathan Oakley, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah.
As far as the most derpy of derpy Englishmen, I think Oakley is probably up there. Yeah, exactly.
Big bitches.
Hold on, I have more.
Another man who can only engage, whose only way to have a disagreement with a woman is probably to backhand her. It's just
sexual pleasure. Oh, they hate me. Oh, they hate me so much. Sad.
Oh, Nathan, you unbelievable fucking cretin.
Absolutely disgusting.
His own worldview is perfect no matter the evidence.
It does help.
His evidence be AI as
well. Oh, look at this. Please explain all of the PhDs that work for creation organizations determine the third way of evolution as atheist, anti-Darwinian organization.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
Damas liars. And the ones that I know about, none of them have a PhD in microbiology. You have the filthy liar of Answers in Genesis, who is a PhD astronomer, and he says that astronomy fully lines up with a 6,000-year-old world, which like it doesn't.
Yeah, that would be Lyle, who is, so an individual PhD is no more immune to delusion or cognitive bias than anybody else. So an individual PhD can have a worldview that just leads them down whatever dark path. One of the discoverers of DNA, I think, had some deeply problematic racist views. It's not the individual scientists or small groups of scientists that you should be listening to. It's the overall weight of scientific evidence and analysis that you should be listening to, and that conversation has been had and is finished. The liars and grifters from the Discovery Institute or
and Ham's organization,
Answers in Genesis, or these other creationist organizations, they are completely unable to get any of their claims published in reputable peer-reviewed journals because none of their arguments hold up. It's not that these journals are inherently unchristian or have an anti-Christian bias. It's just that their arguments aren't valid. If their arguments were valid and supported by evidence, they'd be able to publish. I peer review papers all the time. I don't judge them on whether or not they're pro-Christian or anti-Christian or whatever. It's just whether or not the evidence stacks up, whether or not their arguments are good enough.
Yeah, and I'd recommend looking at the there's a King Crocoduck did a review of the Ken Ham Bill Nye debate that was done at the.
I saw that when it came out.
But the thing is, the reason that I'd recommend it is because King Crocoduck, he when Ken Ham brought up in his initial presentation, he'd bring up this particular expert or this particular person in this qualified in this field. And then King Crocoduck actually went and found the papers that they were referencing and pointed out whether they did or didn't say the thing that was said. And like a lot of these guys, they would have like a PhD in field X, but they were offering an opinion on field Y. And Ken Ham would obfuscate that they weren't offering an opinion in their field of expertise. And then when you realize after the fact that the reason that they were doing this is because Ken Ham had just opened his big fat checkbook. They've all been, they've essentially been corrupted by their preconceived notions of the existence of a deity, and then Ken Ham has come along and waved the carrot of a big fat greasy check, which means they're inherently unreliable.
I would point out
astronomy doesn't log up to billions of years either. Yes, it does.
That's absolute bullshit. Lyle's argument. Lyle has two arguments there. One of which is the finite lifespan of comets. Comets, once they're actually passing through the inner solar system, they lose mass. They ablate.
They heat up. Shockingly, as they get close to the sun, they warm up, and comets are mostly ice.
And they ablate under the force of the solar wind and that sort of thing. So yes, they lose mass, so they have a finite lifespan when that happens. But that is easily explained under by the fact that comets are perturbed out of the Oort cloud that contains many billions of objects. So we're not going to run out, and that doesn't argue against the solar system being billions of years old. His other argument is that light can travel instantaneously towards Earth, which is nonsense. There's nothing in order to explain light from billions of light years away getting to Earth in 6,000 years, he has to have some weird.
I see.
weirdness surrounding the speed of light, and so he's
Yeah,
created this
he's
sort of,
essentially saying that some of the fundamental constants of the universe were conveniently changed to fit his model with no fucking justification
and
whatsoever.
so he argues that the one-way speed towards Earth, the one-way speed of light towards Earth, is very large, effectively infinite, which does not. You can kind of get away with that, but not really. It involves a coordinate singularity at Earth's center that moves through time, because Earth is moving through the universe with time. So the universe is shifting around the Earth as it moves through the galaxy and what have you. The other problem with
this singularity also seems to, for some reason, fail to consume the Earth on which we're stood.
Yeah. But the other problem with it is that there's no support whatsoever in Maxwell's equations for anisotropic speed of light. There's there's no justification from Maxwell's equations that this could occur. Maxwell's equations being what governs the propagation of electromagnetic waves, and from which provides the physical constants from which we can derive a value for the speed of light. So there's no justification in that. And his third prong is something like, the rings of Saturn are going to be gone in a few million years and are only a few 100 million years old. Yeah, so what? So Saturn just happens to have rings now. It didn't always have rings. And what does that mean?
And this goes to the other thing we discussed yesterday, that it would make the logical conclusion of this argument is that God made a universe that is young but has all of the evidence that any reasonable, sane person would consider that makes it look old. So that would make God a deceiver. So when you idiots also say that God is the thing that grounds knowledge and intelligibility, because without God we couldn't have knowledge or intelligibility. Well, if God is a deceiver, guess what? You don't get that either. Because if God can deceive you at any time with limitless magic power, then you can't know anything.
I will point out that again that no Osro Raylon, or however the fuck you want your name pronounced, you don't know anything. The Earth's rate of heat loss. He's now bringing up the rate of heat, the rate at which Earth releases its heat. The rate at which Earth releases its heat is offset by the fact that Earth contains a lot of radioactive elements that produce heat through time. So there is a constant production of energy inside the Earth. That is why Earth has a heat flux. The claim that Earth is just was a bowl of molten rock and has just been radiating and losing heat ever since its first formation, that's just completely naive and has been long been disproven. It is the radioactive productive heat inside Earth's core that keeps it.
And there's this little thing in the sky, kind of yellowish, gives you sunburn when you're there. That's continuously throwing heat our way.
But also, he's talking about the rate that heat flows from Earth's interior and is radiated at Earth's interior, the rate of heat flux at Earth's surface. So this is definitely energy coming from inside the Earth. But that rate is perfectly well explained by radioactive decay. Like he's throwing these conversations were had in the early 20th century. Right.
Also, he's not accounting for the fact that it's not just like you've got like a lump of molten rock on the ground, and as it cools down, it solidifies. Which then, as it solidifies, then you'd lose the spin on the core, which provides us our electromagnetic shielding. But the point is that you're not accounting for the unbelievably vast amount of pressure that is being exerted on the core by the gravitational mass of the planet. And last time I checked, pressure does what?
Yeah. So
increases fucking heat.
It increases temperature. So 4 billion years.
And now he moved the goal. Oh, my fucking dishonest trash bag. Hold on, because I have something ready for you. This describes you, dumbass. Revelation 21:8. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolater, and all liars, that's you, there will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning. This is the second death. You are a disgrace to your religion.
So the claim that the Earth, this is another idiotic claim. He's claiming that the distance of the moon. Okay, these arguments are based on the modern rate of separation from he's talking about the claim that if you look at the moon is actually getting further away from Earth because of tidal dissipation. If you take the modern rate of tidal dissipation and extrapolate it backwards, you get that the moon was very close to Earth's surface about 1 billion years ago, which can't be right because that would bring it inside the limit where it would break up, and it would be having disastrous impacts. But that's the error you've made there, is thinking that the rate of modern energy dissipation applies back in history. It doesn't. The rate of tidal dissipation depends on both the configuration of the continents and the depths of the oceans, which have not been constant through time. So the rate at which tidal dissipation occurs was in fact much slower in the past, when Earth had different continental configurations and shallower oceans. So this is not a valid argument. This is a relatively obscure talking point that creationists like to come out with, and it's all based on, well, if you look at the modern rate of this and you extrapolate it backwards, you are making a uniformitarian assumption that is not true, that the rate at which something happens today must hold at all points during the past, and that is not true. That is just false. The rate at which the coast of the rate at which the Western United States erodes is such and such. If you extrapolate back, 1 billion years, the entire United States should have eroded away. Well, yes, because that erosion rate is modern and it depends on modern processes. If you take modern population growth and you extrapolate it backwards, there were only 2 humans 6,000 years ago. Yes, because modern rates of population growth are very different from what they were historically. It's the same stupid argument. It's just transplanted onto different physical processes. Sorry.
So he's going to take a 30-minute break so we can fucking finish this shit, and we'll be on our way.
Whilst I agree with everything that you've just said, Tony, it probably just for a bit of clarification. I don't want people to think that what Tony said there also applies to things like the universal constants that govern the universe. Just because things like the moon, like moving away from us, the rate changes, or things like continental drift changes at different rates, does not mean that the speed of light could have been different X number of years ago.
There are
That's
things
not
that
what he's
can
talking
change
about.
and things that cannot change. But hold on, let's finish this because I want to wrap it up.
Yeah, people are calling him out constantly about AI, to be honest. But that's...
yes, Nadir uses Shake GPT, but it doesn't give very good answers. And Nadir is kind of haphazard in his use of AI. But Flatzoid, you're not that far from that, so calm down.
It's because he keeps getting caught using his AI during debates. So, but I don't think he used AI this time. I think he was just using one of his old presentations, to be honest. And I was happy I was able to do my presentation up so quickly today.
Flatzoid looks like completely broken and disheveled for some, like he's do you have anything?
Brandon, hello. Sup, my brother, you cooked that potato with his potato stupidity.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't very difficult, to be honest. I just wish he would stop trying to reference God logic and David Wood and all them saying, hey, they're running away.
Oh my fucking cat. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. Because yes, Nadir did say that, but I made a note on here at the very beginning of the show, and I forgot to start my own comment, but it's letting me go back. I have it here. 1 second. Flatzoid, why doesn't Barterman debate me? Because you're not worth it, Flatzoid. You're not worth it.
Away from me for 30 years, the same old spiel. No, they're not running away from anybody. They just don't see him as someone to debate, because the point I made tonight was there is no really a reason to debate him. It's you don't get responses for anything, and it doesn't really
sounds very familiar. Flatzoid, we all watch your debate with Reds. We've all watched you debate 100 times. Like, you suck, just like Nadir. That's what's funny about this whole interaction.
I mean, the notion that he's arguing about, this is literally a debate about whether enslaving one part of a population, enslaving another part of a population, somehow unsticks the morality of Iron Age goat herders. Like, I mean, it's not like this particular topic is going to fundamentally change the morality of the human race. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's finish it up.
Do anything other than make declarations. That's false anyway, and misrepresent what scriptures and things say. So I don't see why God Logic and David Wood and them will actually waste their time with Nadir. But to be honest, the only reason I did with Nadir is because he called out to me, and I'm always up for a debate.
No, you're not. We're going to show it again, because you filthy, lying, degenerate bastard. I'll debate you. Immediately ran away in a post where he was accusing some other derpling of running away from him. So, no, you don't. No.
That's why I debated him. Really don't mind debating him, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen. No stress, PJ. Love you, brother. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Okay, guys. Well, I guess then that's the debate review, because no one's really.
And debate review. This was like, dude, you stole the Aftershow format, and you can't even do it right, Flatzoid.
I have a question.
You're also an embarrassment. Yes.
So who do you think won the debate? Was it what's Flatzoid or? But we have to choose someone. We can't just say no one.
No one.
Did modern day debates receive any super chats?
Yes.
Then they won.
Most of them were Basil just being
Trolling.
Super spicy. Yes.
Yeah, trolling. But I mean, yeah, it was. I honestly think Nadir lost, though. That's my opinion, because of the positionality. I think that anybody who takes this position as a Muslim loses. That's my personal perspective.
Yeah, well, he was literally attempting to punch holes in his own foundational documents.
That's exactly my point.
Okay, I get that. But we are considering this as a holistic thing, based on the actual facts of the position that they hold. Now, when it comes to the actual debate, who made a better argument for it? None of them argued their position correctly. It was just bad all around.
But I think Nadir
was the debate topic? Does slavery disprove Christianity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't matter if a Muslim is making arguments that undermine Islam. because that Islam is not on the table. Islam is not the debate topic. The question is, does slavery contradict Christianity? So I don't think that criticism is really relevant to whether or not Nadir established his case. I'm arguing here from complete ignorance because I didn't watch the debate. I had something to add, a couple of hours ago to one of the points. But yeah, so as is typical, I haven't done my homework, so I'm applying from.
No, it's totally fine. My position of why I feel Nadir lost, whether Flatsoid won, that's another argument, but why I think Nadir lost is because he did take the position of Islam. He didn't just leave Islam off the table. Islam was on the table. He said Islam's a real religion, Christianity's a fake religion. FAIC. FAIC. He kept saying it over and over and over again. So the problem is he introduced Islam to this debate. He didn't just leave it alone. It's not isolated from the debate because he brought it up. It's like in a court case. If you bring up other facts to the case, then they become a part of the case. And he decided to do that. He decided to say Islam is so noble. It's so good.
He essentially made it fair game by introducing it himself when it wasn't necessary. Yeah,
he made it fair game, and so that allows it to be targeted in this conversation. And the point is, he's critiquing Christianity through the perspective of Islam. That is the lens that he's using. He's not using an atheist lens. He's not using a neutral lens. He's using a lens that Islam is so good and protects people and does not enslave people, but Christianity is so evil and vile. And the problem is, both Christianity and Islam take a certain distancing from Judaism. The target isn't actually Christianity. The target is Judaism. Because Christianity, in a sense, separates itself from Judaism, even though I would argue Christianity is a kind of a form of Judaism. It's a derivation of Judaism. So it's not necessarily separate because Jesus does not he doesn't actually distinguish whatever he's teaching from Judaism. He doesn't say, I'm not teaching Judaism. I would say Islam is a little different because Islam, the narrative becomes for certain people that it's not exactly Judaism. But Christianity is more murky. Jesus doesn't say, I'm teaching something different. Instead, he says, I'm fulfilling it. So it is grounded in the Jewish stuff, but it's a kind of a new framework within the Judaism. It's a new covenant within the Judaism. But the thing that I think is strange is Nadir is Nadir is like, it's exactly what John is saying. He's breaking down his own foundation. And I see Daniel Hakikachu did this when he debated a Jewish person. He was like, he attacked he's attacking Islam. When you attack Judaism, you have to attack Islam because Islam does depend on Judaism. Whether Islam is separate from Judaism, it depends on it. All the teachings, all the prophets, all that stuff, it is there. And what he did is he brought it up. He's like, Islam is so good. Christianity is enslaving. And I'm like, not exactly. Because Judaism is a very old religion. It's thousands and thousands of years old. And it goes through different periods. So if you look at the period of Isaiah, it's not the period of like...
Oh, you're breaking up.
Kinds of
lost you a bit there, Isa.
Huh?
We lost you. You broke up a bit there, Isa.
Oh, sorry. I said
after you said Isaiah.
I said you have Isaiah, and then you have like Joseph. These are different eras. If you look at the era of Jews under Babylonian imprisonment, it's not the same as what you see like later on after Second Temple. Like it's just different. It's thousands of years of history of the ancient people, and they have different kinds of conditions depending on where it is in the period. So it's very strange that we want to like homogenize it. And I think Nadir, it's just, it's embarrassing. He's like, and same thing with Daniel and all these people who attack these texts. I'm like, you're embarrassing yourself because the Quran is very clear. The Torah, the Zabur, and the Injil are the texts of Islam. They are Islamic texts. And if you say they're corrupted, that means God corrupted it. This is why you have the Islamic dilemma that gets implemented. It's just embarrassing. And I think Flatsoid made an interesting defense in dealing with this. And I understand why it might not be compelling, but I'm like, I think Nadir has to take that defense. That's the problem. He shouldn't be in this debate. The person who should be in this debate is an atheist, not a Muslim. An atheist should be debating this. An atheist who doesn't believe that this stuff is real. You know what I mean? But if you're a person who actually believes this, it can't work. You know?
No, I agree in that I wouldn't go so far as to say it would have to be an atheist that's debating the position, but to introduce Islam as the counterclaim was definitely a mistake. It's a fundamental error for the reasons that you've laid out. For me, like I have fairly frequently in debates seen one of the interlocutors make a non sequitur argument, but it's not very often that you see a debate subject that demonstrates the non sequitur. The topic of this debate, it was really piss poor in terms of how it was formed. It seems like
Nadir, that's Nadir. Nadir is very slimy when it comes to the framing of the topic of the debate, so that he can, he fails most of the times, but so that he can actually in his opening say, so the criteria you will need to win the debate today, and he thinks that is some kind of a valid strategy, which is
but it's the host's fault, right? It's modern day debates who allows those shoddy debate titles to be presented and to be, they accept those as the debate structure, whereas a properly delineated debate structure would not be so, vague.
I suppose that the debate title I would probably have liked to have seen is, rather than does slavery disprove Christianity, the better debate title would be, are there moral contradictions around slavery within the Bible? Which I think would have been
one-sided. I would have liked a symmetrical debate, like who has the best position against slavery within both scriptures. I think that would have been way better.
I don't think it's a problem to pick on one particular text to critique. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. There is a distinction between comparing two religious texts and just looking at one particular document and going, does this have some moral contradictions within it? Which is absolutely fine. But even if you could find a moral contradiction with regards to slavery, does that disprove the entirety of Christianity, or does it just mean there's a contradiction? That's why I think it's a non sequitur. Yeah.
If you take the fundamentalist view, you might say that, but in general, to a reasonable person, no, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, from my perspective, I guess I would have probably approached this as an agnostic / atheist. I would have taken it was a route that was blocked from the Muslim chap, if he was going to reference Islam, would been to have approached it from the problem of evil. I would say that slavery, but that disproves all of the religions.
Yes.
Yeah. So they can't do it.
No, you're limited in the. I think that's why Nadir chose this, is because that's the only way he could argue this silly point. Steel City said any pro-slavery in the chat, and then Maxi waved right after I said that, but I was waving to Robin, so don't misinterpret that.
Someone clip that.
No. All right. I think with that we are done. To the Derpling, to the Evolution Derpling. I don't know if I want to do a debate with you. Like, you're just hopelessly repeating tired, dumb shit that everyone has heard a million times. So, I wouldn't even have fun with that. It's like, because I would just bring up a paper on human evolution, you would just melt in your chair.
Well, and also, if you're gonna debate the Kent Hovind talking points, you might as well just debate Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind's like a bitch in heat. He'll jump on any channel going. So you could probably get Kent Hovind on here to debate. So
there's and sort of just having the discussion with him in chat. He was talking about animals adapting, which is the wrong way of looking at evolutionary processes. There's genetic randomness that throws up a bunch of mutations, some of which are selected for as advantageous by environmental pressures. Now, adaptation is not done by the animal. It's not that the animal decides, this is the change that we need to go over that way. It's
grow wings. Like
yes, that's right. It's environmental pressure that decides which mutations are beneficial and which aren't. And he doesn't, and then he said, natural selection decides which animals are the best fit. That's what, survival of the fittest means. No, it isn't. It's not geometry. This isn't, they're not being, it's fitness that is being assessed, not whether or not they're a good fit.
And fitness, which actually relates more to specialization or adaptability to the specifics of your environment, which
environmental pressure is a key element in this, and he doesn't seem to understand that.
No, I doesn't seem to understand anything. So I mean, I'm not too excited. Maybe if we don't have content at all to do 1 week, I might accept it. But yeah, it's not something I'm like, oh,
I don't
to be great.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody have the principles of evolution explained to them so comprehensively, and to still not like if Kent Hovind, he must be an absolute simpleton. Like he might actually have a room temperature IQ, because there is no way on this earth that he has had these principles explained to him so comprehensively again and again and again and again, and he still doesn't get
it.
In
a row.
You're operating under the assumption that he's intellectually honest.
Yeah,
and I don't think that that's a valid assumption as far as Kent Hovind is concerned. I think he is an inherently dishonest individual.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of money from this. He has a lot of power from this. He has a huge community. He's seen as a guru. He is a guru of creation, of creationism. This dude is making money. He has a video series. He's a special hero because of it. Would you give that up? I don't know. Like, I think of Vincent the rock star. Like, he gets a lot of power and benefit from being seen as the flat earth rock star. That's a difficult, I don't know. If you have your it's very difficult thing to give up.
Well, it's the old phrase of absolute power corrupts absolutely. So would I like to think that if I realized that I was wrong, but the position that I held was also connected to the amount of power, influence, and money that I make, would I like to think that I would have the intellectual honesty to abandon that position and say so publicly? I would like to think so. I've never really been in that position, so I wouldn't be able to say that that's what I would do, but that is certainly a virtue that I would like to think that I have. But also,
because you've touched on a really, really important point, and I just want to illustrate it. One of the things that I notice about flat earthers is that they universally say, well, if your income depended on propagating a lie, you'd do it, right? No, I actually wouldn't. That's not what I do. I don't want to lie for in return for money. There are many jobs where I could lie for a living, but I don't do them because that's not what I want to do. And so I get the impression that flat earthers very much would lie if people paid them to. It's why they're so willing to believe that other people will lie if they're paid to. Whereas I don't think that people will just lie just because somebody throws some money at them. And you're kind of here proving me right, that, sort of you're not committing to it, but you are suggesting you'd like to think that, in that position, you wouldn't lie just for money.
Well, but it is something that's subject to gradation. I mean, I do lie on a regular basis. I lie to my young children all the time because I think there are some lies, like when I have firearms in my house.
But that's not the same.
No, I know it's not. But what I mean is, it's subject to gradation. So my children are taught that they never would find a firearm lying around because I'm a responsible gun owner. But the instruction that they have is, if they do come across them, you always treat it as if it's loaded. You assume that it's loaded. That is a lie, but it's a lie that will protect them and protect other people.
Wait, no, that's not a lie. That's like an advice.
Yeah, true, but it's an intentional untruth that is designed to achieve a positive goal, right?
We're not going to get into the meaning of. We're not going to go down that route because another 2 hours.
No, I get it.
Okay, all right. With that, thank you everyone for being here on the panel and over there in the side chat. Before we go, make sure to do the social things, like, share, subscribe, send this to a friend, send this to your significant other, go to the corner, yes, the corner of your tweet, and just subscribe to Yerba Mate Talks. And that way we can show that up for the channel. Tomorrow, MC Toon has moved Tuesday night to Monday. So tomorrow we are off. Unless we get a last minute debate or some shit like that. But other than that, tomorrow we are not here. Thank you, everyone. Love you all. Take care. Have a great night. Bye. Bye. Look. Oh, you have no idea who